lot of people that want to buzz me for a lot of the damage I've done.
Yeah?
I just don't want to get in trouble for it again.
You've gotten in trouble in the past. What's happened?
I got in jail a couple times.
But you still do it?
Hell yeah.
You're now listening to the AITB podcast.
All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of All in the Bag podcast. I'm your host, Myan. This is episode 12, and today I'm bringing onto the show Zeam. What's up, man?
Hello, everybody.
So, yeah, man, thanks for coming onto the show.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure to have you on. I've been paying attention to
Right
you
on.
for forever.
Yeah, it's been a while now. It's been a while.
Yeah, definitely been catching you. Obviously, all over the Bay Area, but even
Right.
I was sending you pictures and shit when I was in Barcelona.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw a few of those hands. Yes.
Yeah. So, you get up.
I try to stay prevalent, excuse me.
Yeah.
You know.
So the way I like to start the podcast is always from the beginning, just learn a little bit about your history.
Sure.
For the people that don't know, I mean, I'm
Right.
sure there's tons of people in the Bay Area, but we have people from all around the world that listen to this podcast.
Great.
So for those, like when you started, what year was that? What were you getting into? What was the atmosphere like? The writers that you were paying attention.
Yeah, well, to go back to the very, very beginning, where I originally lived until I was 14, was a little town in the North Bay called Roanoke Park.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And skateboarding was everything. I started skating when I was 7, I think.
Yeah.
And, that was in the late 80s. So it was still like really old school neon shit.
Yeah.
Giant wheels, all that. But like,
Fishboards.
It started getting kind of like, a little seedy. Like Thrasher started coming out with segments of like tattooed guys and like pool riders, the whole Dwayne Peters and Tony Alva started getting on the dark side sort of styles,
Okay.
So I was like, like this is kind of getting
So that was the kind of
wild.
counterculture that you were getting
Yeah,
into?
so I was just sucked in right away. And, all of a sudden, like, fast forward a couple years later to, like, 91, 92, the whole, like, new school vibe popped off of street skating.
Right, okay.
And it was all of a sudden all about SF, Embarcadero.
Yeah, EMB.
Exactly. And
The banks of Chinatown.
along with that came Graph.
Okay. Yeah.
And at the time, there was a really cool hip hop shop. Well, it was more of a skate shop that sold Doc Martens, but somehow it was
Sick.
called Concrete Jungle up in Santa Rosa, and somehow they were tied in. Don't know how, but to Rocksteady Crew, they had the graffiti writer people from the crew come piece up the shop, and there were a lot of other local writers coming in, and behind like the entrance into the shop. Behind the door, people were like taping up drawings.
Okay.
And it was all like the baddest local dudes. And
Okay.
I just was like, okay, like let's pick up pens, let's start painting.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah,
So that was
so-
very inspirational.
It was, yeah, that was, I was pretty young then. I was only about 12, I was skating a lot and got pretty good for how young I was, and I kind of got attention from some older cats in the town. There weren't too many skateboarders, so if you were, people wanted to hang out, and they're like, "Oh, this kid's good. Let's go skate with him." So
Sick.
they were all in the graph too.
Oh, nice.
And we started kind of just hitting up together, bullshit skating. They got me into smoking weed and all that shit. It was like right when Cypress Hill came out with Black Sunday and the Beastie Boys were hella big, and the House of Pain was
Hits
like
from the bombs.
summer 93 was just like really cool, like a lot of inspirational music, like the soundtrack to the summer sort of shit, just a lot of nostalgia. So we were like, okay, we need to like make a serious crew here, because Roanoke Park didn't have shit.
Gotcha.
There was a gang that like there was some gang tagging around with the creeks, but we were kind of like the only ones really hitting up and like being those guys. So we decided to form a crew, and that we did. All through my middle school, we were really starting to hit it hard.
Yeah.
Like we were smashing green boxes with mops, like along the train lines, like destroying backs of warehouses with like, we'd go there weekend after weekend until like the whole back of this giant fucking place was like crushed. And we did a few of those down the train line, and we pretty quickly got the attention of the police.
Yeah.
And
Especially Roner Park.
Yeah, totally. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
And they were making a big deal about it. And
did you get in some newspapers?
No, it really wasn't. I don't think like it was a small community, but they weren't really on that
Gotcha.
like that hype about it. But surely enough, with young people and kids comes snitching, and it's just at a certain point, police were coming to my house, knocking on the door, just trying to get me and like other people just to admit it, like that we were painting. They would come over with Polaroids.
I remember, you guys have been here.
Yeah, they would sit down in the living room. Like, it's a small town, like, and your parents were like, all right, well, come on in, so I was like, fuck, but I just kept my mouth shut, but it was sketchy, and it got pretty hot. And at a certain point, toward the end of my middle school, one of the best guys from our crew, he kind of graduated up to like Santa Rosa's big crew.
What was the name of this crew?
Well, the crew me and my friends started was called VCR. And, I'm not sure if it's still around to this day. It might have somehow lived and been strung along, but
I was gonna say, is this like the VCR that, like, because I mean, I've definitely seen VCR around for.
Well, yeah. For me to say if it's the same, actually, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
The boss man of the crew was this guy Tern, Tern.
Okay.
And he was always better than the rest of us.
Gotcha.
And he graduated to this crew called SRK, the Santa Rosa Kings. They were like definitely like the baddest dudes in the land.
Yeah.
They had a huge squad. They were like doing rad productions under the 101, and had really good tags. That city had a really like defined style from that point in time.
Regional styles.
It was a regional style, and it was very its own thing. And that whole look, unfortunately, has been lost. But a few people know about it. There are only a handful of guys that I know that are still around here. Meaning here is in San Francisco Bay Area, but that really know that rich history. So eventually those guys started getting cars and old enough to drive, and what it became was starting to take trips to Marin, and like meeting other skater friends and other riders, and they were going up to Rack, get paint. They got into like really just a lot of boosting and shit like that.
Right.
So they started really stepping it up, and eventually our guys made friends with this Daly City crew called TPG, which this writer, he wrote Land, Land, Lander, started coming all the way up to Roner Park to kick it with us. And his crew was TPG, the True Pinoy Gafflers. And I'd never heard of them.
True Pinoy Gafflers.
Yeah, and we're like, oh shit, these like Filipino gangster ass fools are coming in from DC.
Yeah.
And like him and his friend, they would come up and fuck shit up, and all of a sudden it was like, wow, this is like bigger than just us and just this like bubble of Santa Rosa.
Yeah.
And like all these skateboarder people we kick it with. So that's kind of when shit started, we're like, whoa, okay, this is going somewhere, and like, should we stick it out, and this and that. But unfortunately all that came to a close around 96, 97 for me, because I had to move.
Okay.
So that whole little world up there was kind of done for me, not permanently, but that door kind of shut.
Right.
And I did for 1 year at that point. My first year of high school, I lived in San Mateo.
Okay.
Which was the introduction to that whole world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. San Mateo in the 90s. I mean,
right.
That's its own little pocket of filth too.
Yeah. As we were talking about earlier. Right. Yeah. Daly City, and that whole area was pretty hardcore. It was dangerous. It was much dirtier.
Oh yeah,
than it is now.
Yeah. It's so funny because like just like we were talking about literally moments ago before we hopped on the mic, it's like people look at, you know, the peninsula as very much this like suburban tech, you know, just like families and super soft, and it is, you know, unfortunately, but it was not that at one point, right? And it's like, it's pretty crazy how much history there is for graffiti. You know, some of the best writers that people know around the world that associate with, you know, San Francisco really came out of the peninsula.
Yeah, I think so too. Because at that point in time, right, it was really pre-tech.
Oh yeah,
It had the same feel as Santa Rosa really did. You know, it was just like kind of crummy, sort of industrial. And what drew me, it kind of drew me. I mean, I was a little bit kind of like, kind of over graph. You know, I just lost all my friends. Like nobody down here. All over. Yeah, it had that feel, but I was like, whatever. It's just what I like to do. So, you know, I met a couple people in the school I was going to, and Caltrain runs through San Mateo, as you know.
Oh yeah.
And that's, of course, was the gravitational graffiti zone.
Dude,
there was
the track sides over there.
Yeah, San Mateo really didn't have much of a look. I was like, this place isn't really hit. It seems pretty fucking boring.
Yeah.
But lo and behold, there was graffiti in the woodwork, and that graffiti was pretty much HTK. Yeah, like the first gen guys, reverse.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the relation to Orphan was already kind of like an all Bay guy.
Yeah.
But everybody down there was like, oh, he's got scribes on almost every Samtrans, and you know, like, go check out these RVS pieces this guy did. You know, so
yeah, rest in peace, man. Fucking
yeah. Right. And I kind of crossed paths, you know, with some of their younger, more new gen guys, you know, at the time, you know, Code being one of those people. So that was short lived though. A year later, I came into San Francisco.
Okay.
And that was when it was like, whoa, now it's real.
What year is this that you're in San Francisco?
97.
Oh shit. So you're like in the heart of like what we call the heyday, right? Of like San Francisco graffiti. I mean, you're seeing Twist and KR and all these.
Yeah, the golden era.
Yeah.
As Schubert, Dave Schubert, rest in peace, would refer to it as. Yeah, it was. It was kind of the tail end of it.
Yeah.
But it was still in full effect. It was still in full swing.
Right.
Completely.
I can't imagine how impacting that is to you.
That was pretty big.
Yeah.
It really was, you know, and I kind of hung up skateboarding at that point, just because the San Mateo shit was just so blah. And, you know, I didn't really find good places to skate. I didn't have people to skate with. So,
Right.
You know, I was just kind of like, oh, man, well, let's jump back into graph, right?
Yeah.
And
makes sense.
Fortunately, pretty much almost right away, I was going to high school in the city in Richmond District, and I had a math class with my good homie C4.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a good dude to link up with.
That was my immediate fucking hand-to-hand homeboy.
Yeah.
Which blew my fucking mind. Because right away, he's so casual about it. He's always been ahead of the curve. He's really talented, graffiti, just mentally, just a great person. And right away, he pops up with his black book, or he wasn't like a black book guy. He just he would have like random ass like art books, you know, just sketch, like whatever books, and just be like, oh yeah, check this one out. And like you know, he would have works from Giant and KR and Cycle and Twist. Sick. Yeah, and as a 15, 16-year-old, I was like, holy shit. Like this guy's like this guy's fucking in it.
With
He's
it.
doing it. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think too, part of it was he was just one of those kind of like younger, I mean, I don't want to, you know, it's kind of cheesy term, but prodigy, but he was just one of those younger guys that like the older dudes were like, yo, this kid's tight. Like, let's chill with him. So right away, he was like, he was already just in that lifestyle. And he was really good too. And was down to hang out and take me bus hopping and do shit that like you can't do in San Mateo and Santa Rosa.
Right.
Crushing Muni, ditching school to bus hop all day.
Yeah.
And running into other crews.
Fuck.
All day.
I can't imagine.
I was like, holy shit,
it's
man.
like night and day from San Mateo to doing nothing to just all of a sudden, all right, I'm bus hopping every day.
Yeah. Like, for example, back in Roanoke Park, going home one day in 7th grade, a couple kids pulled out markers and we're like, fuck it, let's just crush this bus. What happens? The bus pulls over, police surround it, like all these kids got taken out. Like here it was just like, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
You can go out of control. You can write all over the whole inside of the bus. And most likely the driver's just gonna be like, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah.
Or if anything, you'll get in funk with other riders, passengers.
Yeah.
Because they used to get really upset about the smell of ink. That used to piss people off.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
People got mad about that, man. They'd be like, it fucking stinks in here. What the fuck? You know? And
what's that famous
upset people.
Piece by piece, right? You know, there's like that famous part with the lady. She's like, you know, he's tagging it. It's a funky marker. It smells. And, you know, she's talking about that. And
right.
It's like, I bombed your bus, bitch.
Yeah. People, for the most part, we would get other riders and, you know, so forth would get into it with just people.
Yeah.
Rather than it being Muni staff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, we got into a lot of shit, man.
Yeah.
We really did. Yeah. And it was fun because a lot of crews in the high school era were battling for sport, you know?
Just cause.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, like we really hate y'all and it's on site and, you know, like nothing, you know, like like on some serious like gangbanging shit. It was just
they're up as fuck.
Fools are up and they're just like, we're hella sicker than you, so guess what? We're gonna take y'all out.
Yeah.
And so like there, like even one time, like, you know, I was involved with some of that. Just I got into a few crews that were in the high school.
Yeah.
Because kids were just having fun. They're just like, oh, we're gonna start this new crew this week, and you guys should all be in it. So there was a few different other crews like that came with just going to school there, because there was a lot of riders at that school, man.
Yeah.
At George Washington High School.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
A lot of riders, bro.
Yeah.
There was so many riders that there was fools like we never even knew who they were all year.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And the school was bombed.
Yeah.
I'm talking bombed, man.
Yeah, I'm sure the bathrooms were wrecked.
The bathrooms were destroyed. They had to buff them on the regular. And it was fucked up. It was funny because the kids that would get caught, they wouldn't even like really reprimand. I mean, they wouldn't even get like all that busted. They
like
would just
detention or something.
They would say, hey, here's a can of paint. You just go buff.
Go clean your shit.
Yeah. They would send them to the backfield where everybody would get high all day, and you'd have to buff the tags there. You just go wax a couple bathrooms, and that was kind of it.
Yeah.
So So luckily,
that makes it pretty easy.
Yeah, I never got caught tagging in the school, but man, C4 again. He was fucking shit up, and he was changing his tags constantly.
Yeah.
You know, and it gave me that whole new aesthetic to graffiti, where I was like, yo, yeah, like I can change my tag and have fun with letters and, you know, try new styles.
Yeah.
And of course that I was, because I kind of, you know, didn't never have the real SF knack. You know, I was from somewhere else.
Right.
And
so you're looking at it from your perspective.
It was really different.
Yeah.
And, you know, me and, you know, the Wash guys, we started making friends with people from other high schools. And at the time, it kind of just, there was what we call, there was bus hopping, and then there was downtown style, quote unquote.
Yeah.
You know, like all the older seasoned guys who painted shit downtown, you know, like, you know, those were all those guys.
More hip hop style.
You know, just the real funk SF letter look, you know,
right?
Very, you know, like twist, you know, obviously being one of the fancy schmancy,
sure,
you know, hand styles of all time.
Yeah,
a lot of people, you know, kind of look to that, like, right. So, so that was a pretty fun time, man. And he introduced me to a lot of people, you know, that I still know now, and really showed me a lot. So, I definitely credit him. But then again, unfortunately, a year into that, had to move again, you know?
Damn.
Yeah, my parents had split up, and they were all moving all over the place at that point.
Yeah.
So, my pops, who I was living in San Francisco with, he decided to go move to St. Louis, where he was originally from.
Oh, okay.
And my mom had moved down to SoCal, to Santa Barbara. So, down there I went, and
to Santa Barbara or St. Louis?
Yeah, Santa Barbara.
Okay.
And yeah, I was like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
This SF shit was like
Yeah.
out of
yeah,
hand.
Yeah. So every
Like,
time you get a little taste of something, it's kind of like it gets taken
well,
away.
you know, and then in '97, I had started writing Zeam in San Francisco.
Okay.
That was kind of where I picked up my name, which was just trying to find a name that was just different, that nobody would have had, you know,
Yeah.
just another random word. It's kind of a very, very 90s word, I've been told.
Oh yeah.
Whatever, you know. But
Yeah.
I just stuck with it, you know.
How did you come with the name?
Just trying to, just like I said, just
Trying
like how I
different
said.
letters, this and that. And you're like,
Exactly.
oh, I like this.
Yeah, and just not trying to have a, you know, another word that some other kid's gonna come
Sure.
along with. You
Sure.
know, that was pretty much it. You know, the A to the M isn't really the most fun thing to do. Like, it's fun to tag, but when it comes to drawing, that's kind of a different story.
Gotcha.
You know, to piecing. But no, it's good. It's a good challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
No, sure.
yeah, so I kind of took it again back on the road. I had a car at that point, so
In Santa Barbara.
yeah, well, here in SF, I got
okay.
one. So I drove down to Santa Barbara. One of my buddies basically kind of ran away from Frisco with me. And he's like, I'll fucking go down there with you, man. I know this sucks. So my boy went down there with
Down-ass
me.
homie.
Yeah. We brought a bunch of paint. And he was down there, not for long. He was only down for a week or two. But we,
My bad, I
we
gotta go back to-
immediately like went bombing.
Sick.
And Santa Barbara is definitely its own weird pocket, too. It's a really nice, you know, vacation town for a lot of LA people. It's a pretty town. You
Yeah, it
know?
really
It's-
is.
It's very, you know, Hispanic vibes. A lot of them red brick roofs. You know, it's a nice fucking place.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a funny little industrial area kind of on the east side that we found, me and my SF friend.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and yeah, we were doing huge fat cap tags, writing Frisco under everything, just totally being obnoxious. But
Yeah.
yeah, luckily in school there in the high school, I met a few writers from my neighborhood, and they were tied in to this crew called IC,
Okay.
ICK, Santa Barbara, I think, maybe LA. It originated in one of those two places, if
Sure.
not both. But Odds, ODDS. He's kind of the overlord, and he had just moved up to Frisco. And you know, we all had mutual friends, and
Yeah.
everybody was like, "Oh man, like you just missed Odds," and I was like, "Yeah, like he knows all these guys I know in Frisco."
Damn.
So we were like kind of like destined to meet,
Yeah.
you know, and he kind of told his local IC guys that were hanging around. He's like, "Yo, this guy Zeam is here, and he's good."
Yeah. Take
Like,
care of them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And right away, you know, I started hanging out with his buddies, Psych and Trio, and you know, it was a good time. You know, I was I was starting to skate again, and like still not fully like I'm a writer and like graffiti. I was just kind of like, all right, you know, like I'm still painting, and yeah, I'll paint with these guys. You know, it wasn't like
Yeah,
full time like
Sure.
my fucking whole shit. But those guys were fun to hang and paint with.
That's
That-
tight.
Yeah, they really were. And then right, and I started meeting more of those guys, and they were all cool cats, you know. They were all a little bit older than me, so they had some stripes, you know. And then Odds did start coming back around to hang out with them, and I got to know him, and of course he was expanding in San Francisco, and we started realizing we have more friends in common, you know, than we knew at first. But yeah, you know, it was okay. I didn't really like living there very much, and
How long were you in Santa Barbara?
just 2 years.
Okay.
I stuck out high school and made it, you know, graduated at 12th grade and just got it out of the way.
Right.
But as soon as I finished high school there, I decided immediately that I don't want to fucking be there.
Yeah.
It's a really not the city for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm gonna go back to SF on my own.
Okay.
So yeah, my good buddy Ken Knox, he's a tattooer now.
Okay.
He owns 805 Inc. in Santa Barbara. He had gotten kicked out of his house, and I was like, Kenny, I'm moving to SF. You want to come? He's all, sure, man.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Let's go. So, you know, I drove my ass back up. And again, too, kind of during those Santa Barbara years, I was coming up to SF on my own quite a bit.
Oh, okay. So the
Yeah.
entire time you're still visiting SF.
I was visiting because
Yeah.
I had a car.
Yeah.
And my buddies, my guy who took off, who quote unquote ran away and came to visit me, my buddy Donnie, he was calling me all the time. He had started getting into raving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he was like, there's this huge underground party, man. We've been trying ecstasy and it's fun as fuck. And there's tons of girls.
You gotta get in on this.
You gotta come up.
Yeah.
So I started coming up to go to raves and shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'd go back to SB and like tell my friends like, yeah, man, we went to this warehouse party in Oakland, completely underground, like sweatbox going off, taking ecstasy, making out with girls. And these Santa Barbara kids were like, nah, he's lying. I'm like, whatever, bro. Yeah, I was like, look, I still got this candy on my wrist. Some chick gave me. Like, I wasn't like a raver, but you know, of course, I'd throw it away after a few days. But I was just I was like, here's the evidence.
You rocking that plur movement?
It was funny, you know. Yeah, and at 2, we were talking about Swerve. I used to see him at raves, you know, doing his thing, and yeah, there were a lot of riders going to those parties,
for
you know,
sure,
because you could cut loose, you know, and everyone was bringing markers and bombing. You know, you'd be walking around the party and be like, "Oh, this guy's here. Oh shit, let's try to find him."
Yeah, fucking ecstasy was way different than it is now.
Yeah. Whole nother scene.
Yeah,
you know? Totally.
Yeah. Like we were talking about prior to that, prior to hopping on the mic and shit. You know, it's fucking. You know, you'd find like pills for like $2 and shit, and so you're like, "Oh, here's a 10."
Yeah.
Just go in for like a whole weekend.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
And that too brought like other people in our circles. That we had like New York friends that moved here to party.
Yeah.
And we were hanging out. Like I would come up and my SF friends, they'd be like, yo, now we're hanging out with these guys. And, you know, like all of a sudden, like they were expanding socially.
Yeah.
So every time I would come up, they would have new people to hang out with for me to meet.
Yeah. So that network grew very quick.
It did. It was growing quick, and this is still pre-internet, you know. So it was just all like homie to homie, you know, like word of mouth. Like we're actually hanging out, friends, you know. Yeah. I knew it was good. There was, you know, the grass was growing, and I was like, fuck this, I'm going back. So yeah, me and my boy Kenny, we moved back. Fucking, I came to town and picked up a newspaper and found a place in the ads, you know.
Fire.
Like the internet existed, but it was still, I don't even think there was Craigslist. There was AOL, you know. So anyways, I had to get a newspaper and call all these fucking houses, and I found a place, and
nice.
My boy Kenny came up, and he was writing the word semi at the time.
Okay.
Now he writes Swayze, as in Patrick Swayze. But we'll talk a little bit more about him later. But we kind of kicked it off and together, and you know, right away, like my bombing partner was C4. We always had a good rapport.
Sure.
And that was when we started pushing carts for the first time. You know, like I really got, you know, into, you know, the rack a little bit at that time, just because we didn't have much money and we just kind of needed it.
Boosting that
just
merch.
to live and get by. I mean, you know, I ended up getting a job at a hardware store.
Okay.
So I was okay. And Kenny, my friend, he was working at like a bike shop. So we were doing good. I was kind of just getting my feet wet again, back in the Bay, and like hanging out, kind of getting back into the social circles. We were smoking a lot of weed, just goofing off. I became pals with this really close friend of mine this day, Reef.
Okay.
Reef HBK.
Yeah.
As in track knocker, affiliated with Prayer. A lot of good bus hoppers. Like classic bus heads. So yeah, we all started kind of running in a pretty tight circle. Me, C4, Reef, and all the kind of people that surrounded that circle. And what happened was my homie Swayze, he decided to move to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to go to art school, and you know, my homie Donnie, who had taken off to Santa Barbara with me when I was coming back to hang, he introduced me to this guy Cuts. He was a kid, young Cuts, really baby face, young looking, kind of smaller guy.
Yeah.
Cuts was really cool. He tested out of high school and started going to CCSF, City College,
Okay.
at like 16, 17.
Damn.
And I was like, yo, this kid's like motivated. He's taking art classes.
Damn.
He was like he was a Union City kid originally, and then went to SF and, right around 16ish or so when he met my friends. But he was like really into like pretty like, he was a little guy, but he was doing like these big mean ass pieces. You know, I was like, whoa, like you got something going. And he needed a place to live too. So I was like, yo, why don't you move in with me? Take Swayze's place. He's like, sure. And then that's when shit really went off.
Yeah.
We started painting freeways hard as fuck. I was really inspired by Los Angeles graffiti as a really young kid. And then rewinding a little bit to the, the Roanoke Park era, Pops would take me to baseball games. You gotta, if you're coming from the North Bay and you're going to Candlestick, you gotta drive through the whole city.
Right.
And that was when, I think the whole like Roanoke Park thing, like seeing San Francisco, what really did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really did. Just all the tagging was just like, wow, what is that? That's fucking tight.
I'm sure the city was way more crushed. So to come for a baseball game and just see that on the way over is like, whoa.
And as a little kid, it was great. So yeah, that just kind of wanted to throw that back in. But and then too, I think I took a trip to Disneyland at like age 12, and when I saw the freeways in LA in '93, I was all, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is berserk, bro.
Yeah.
There was graffiti the whole way from the valley through downtown into the OC, like nonstop.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was nonstop. Like,
that's sick.
Yeah. Every retainer wall, like done end to end, every underpass, every pole in the middle, all the walkouts. I'd never seen a walkout. All the heavens, barbed wired.
Yeah.
Half of them hit. Not quite half of them, but you'd see a number of them hit.
Right.
And it was just like, I was just so fucking blown away. Yeah. And I thought it was so cool. It was huge. So now that we can get it, let's get it.
Yeah.
Me and Cuts, I was like, yo, let's start nailing freeways. Freeway appreciation time.
Yeah.
So
specifically targeting
freeways. We did.
That's what's up.
Me and Cuts worked the 101 and 280 for a solid 2-year stretch.
Damn.
Like as hard as we could, you know? And C was in on it quite a bit, but he was more into painting in the city. As we were too. We were all over.
Yeah.
We were pretty much trying to
get it where you get it.
Yeah. Like we were painting almost every day.
Damn.
And doing a whole shitload of shit. But that was part of my niche. I was like, let's just keep hitting the freeways,
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And like, it was a whole nother challenge,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, me and Cuts did pretty good. We were a duo for quite some time. We kind of got names going for ourselves.
Yeah.
I think that's when for me, I was like, okay, I'm sticking with this. I'm going to do this for a while now.
Yeah. I mean, 2 years of banging freeways, that'll get you some reputation pretty quick.
It did. Yeah. Yeah. And like I said too, we were doing street spots and stuff.
Yeah.
At that point, C4 kind of had to take a little breather, because around 99, 2000, he was, right when I first got back, when I was gone to Santa Barbara, he was working it. He was all city by the max.
Yeah.
And, he was just up so much. He had this particular, graph cop, just on his ass.
Yeah.
And the guy built the case. And, he had to cool his jets. Mm-hmm. But just huge respect and props to him for taking it there. He was always an inspiration. So the ball was rolling, man, and the scene was good. It was fun. The golden era sort of had phased out.
Gotcha.
It kind of had at that point.
All right.
The 90s deal was kind of Y2K hit, and it was kind of a new feeling.
So at this point, when you're hitting these freeways for 2 years, what year is that?
So this was 2000, to
Okay.
2002.
Okay.
Coming back from Santa Barbara in 2000, 2-year stretch, hooking up with Cuts, running around with Reef, and many others. That was a really fun point in time. And man, it kind of hit the fan again for me financially, and just being a young guy, and my whole house split up, and it was, I was having trouble finding a place, so I was like, fuck it, I can go live for free in St. Louis,
Oh yeah.
and like save money,
Right.
just basically live free for a year. I told myself 1, maybe 2 years. I'm gonna go there, work, keep going to school, live for free,
Put some bread away.
yeah, and come back,
Yeah.
and just reboot.
Yeah.
So yeah, in '02, I packed up my car and drove all my shit out to St. Louis, and I had cousins out there, that I had gone to visit growing up my whole life.
Sure.
One of my good cousins, Danny, was my kind of right hand homie. We, I could call him and get stoned, and
Yeah.
he would take me to his friends' houses, and we could chill with his buddies and stuff. So I was like, okay, I got, a cool cousin. I had some other girl cousins that, they were in college, and they would take me to like their parties and shit.
So you got some peoples to kick it
So
with.
right away, yeah, I was like, okay, like life ain't going to be that bad.
Sure.
I'm not just like going to the middle of nowhere and
Right.
just like
Starting all
fuck,
over. And
right.
Yeah.
I mean, and I never really saw graffiti there on my trips there as a child. There really wasn't much. It's just a
St. Louis didn't
old
necessarily have a scene.
industrial brick,
Yeah.
fucking freight train, just crusty place. You go downtown, the whole
Crusty
city
place.
smells like train steam.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of abandoned warehouses along the Mississippi that divides St. Louis and East St. Louis.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere along the river that's like really recreational. You can't get in the water. It's filthy.
Fuck.
There's warehouses and smokestacks and barges
Sure.
and just burned
Completely
cars.
different from the city.
Yeah. It's a whole nother fucking world of life.
Yeah. So
yeah.
but like for what you were doing in San Francisco and shit, you
Yeah.
brought that mentality into St. Louis.
I knew that.
You're like, I'm
I'm
getting
gonna have-
over.
Yeah, I knew I was gonna have some fun.
Yeah.
And
They're
like
not hip to the rack. They're not hip to the industrial
no,
spots and petty shit.
yeah, and man, one year there, maybe two, right? Like,
Yeah.
ha ha ha.
Yeah.
And
Little
fortunately,
spraycation and then you're out.
yeah, fortunately, living in San Francisco, I was, buddies with people from ESL crew,
Okay.
as you know, Jenks,
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
Skirt, a few others. One of their buddies wrote Day Rock, DAE, Day Rock,
Okay.
Johnny Ace, DJ from Frisco Gang.
Okay.
Nowadays, he's all over. Him and his family, they were also SF St. Louis people,
Okay.
and I'd heard he was out there. So I had to call, a half dozen people around San Francisco to get
Tap into the network.
the phone number at his mom's house where he was staying in St. Louis, and finally I got the phone number.
Yeah.
I got a hold of him. He really wasn't living there. He was living with one of his buddies. He was living with his friend 4ZK, who was a St. Louis native.
Okay.
And I got a hold of Johnny, and I'm like, look, man, I've met you like twice, literally on like stoops, drinking beers, smoking weed, like,
Yeah.
around the Mission.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you probably won't remember me, but I'm friends with all these guys, and I'm living here now.
Yeah.
So
Let's get it.
can we hang out? Right. He's kind of a funny guy. He's like, well, I guess, you're gonna have to come meet these friends though that I have here. Like they're wondering who you are, man. And I don't know. You got to talk to these guys because I've been painting on my
Okay.
own. Like right away, I started painting spots
Oh, okay.
by myself. There and it's okay. It's 2002, right? I just get there. There is a scene, grassroots scene evolving.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good dozen names I'm seeing around town.
Okay.
Little to my knowledge, a few of these guys have a couple different words because
Oh.
the scene's so small. and they were being experimental too. Like they
okay.
were having fun with other words and shit.
Yeah.
But I didn't know.
Right.
You know, I was like,
You're thinking these 12 guys, really it's 3 dudes.
yeah, basically that was kind of part of the scoop.
Yeah, that's
and,
fire.
And you know, and like I was painting spots that like other people had, because I was like, I mean, I was doing my own spots, but then I would see rooftops going off, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get one up there too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And so I was, you know,
So they started seeing your stuff.
they
too.
were seeing my shit.
Yeah.
And an LA friend of mine, Goer, he was, I think, born and raised Santa Monica kid, but
Okay.
in rewind to about 96, 97, one of St. Louis's most influential kind of guys who really kicked off the scene is Joey Hoax, Hoaxhoacs. Hoax ran away to LA in around 97-ish and immediately became friends with Fate, Revoke, you know, basically they put him in AM7.
Okay.
He was painting he was like pre-MSK,
Yeah.
you know, like goodness. So they're
Yeah.
like, you're AM7, buddy. So he was running around with all them. And around 2000, he went back to St. Louis and brought this whole like LA hardcore fucking California fucking just gnarly.
Catching wreck.
Yeah.
Heavens.
Yeah. Like all about it. And he just was like, I'm starting this crew lowdown. And
LD.
start it. Yeah. Whoever wants to get on it, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
And at the time, you know, right around then, Goer, they must have met back then, but Goer decided to move to St. Louis. And he was kind of a lone wolf for a while. You know, they were doing a lot of spots by themselves, you know, and a lot of urban exploring, man, like being by yourself, climbing up rusty fire escapes that the bolts are popping out of the buildings as you're going up the ladder.
Yeah.
Like it starts waving off the wall. Like they were doing a lot of shit like that. And
These like 100-year-old buildings. And
yeah,
shit.
so right away, you know, I get on the phone with Dayrock again. I think, you know, we had all just kind of started getting cell phones at that point around 2002. You know, that was kind of the beginning of cell phones.
Yeah. Metro PCS.
I had a Nokia, right. And I got in touch with Goer, and he's all, hey man, you've been side busting a lot of our spots, dude.
Oh.
We're not fucking feeling it. He's like, bro, like if you want to come hang out, say hello,
Yeah.
and straighten us all out, you better show up. Otherwise, it's beef.
Oh shit.
And I was like,
Say less.
I'm coming by.
Yeah.
What's up? So yeah, I popped over to Johnny's place. 4Z was moving out. Literally that day, Goer was moving in. And yeah, man, we hit it off. And from that point on, yeah, my 2-year stretch of St. Louis began.
Okay.
And it kicked off pretty cool.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got right at the origins of LD.
Luckily.
Yeah.
Again, kind of luckily. You know, it had happened in Santa Barbara and, you know, and it happened in St. Louis.
Damn.
And it turned out, you know, the crew was somewhat deep, you know, like off the top of my head, there were probably like 10 to like 14, 15 guys that actually were in the crew. Only half of them were really painting.
Yeah.
There was a lot of just like honorary party homies, you know, that were in the crew. But right around like mid 2002, Hoax was really determined to like have like a super crew. And with the LA connection, Goer was, you know, he was in TKO already, and he was bringing out people to paint. Before I'd even got there, Colt 45 showed up to paint.
Sick.
And you know, a handful of TKO guys were coming out. Our friend Lifer came through, and you know, a handful of others showed up too during that little stretch. So, you know, and then too with internet graffiti starting to take place, you know, 12-ounce Profit kind of opened up the gates to all weird middle of nowhere cities being on the map.
Yeah.
It really did.
Because now it's just you have a camera and you upload it.
Yeah, yeah, and everybody can yap, and it was a forum for those who don't know 12 ounce.
Yeah.
You know, you would post flicks, and anybody could yap and talk, and there was a lot of shit talking.
Oh yeah.
It was more or less controversial.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
people were on there mouthing off.
Yeah, because you're just posting really just for a bunch of people to talk shit to you.
And everybody's names are anonymous. There was no direct messaging.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
you could just comment.
yeah, if you're on Instagram now, it's like, oh, this person can, you know, reach out and say, hey,
Yeah.
you know, fuck you.
Yeah.
Then with that, you couldn't do it. So the anonymous side to it, yeah, people were being probably a little more tougher than they really were. But
Right.
anyways, yeah, it kind of opened up the gates for all these little cities in the Midwest and everywhere fucking else to, you know, like, look, we have a scene.
Yeah.
And Hoax was really trying to, he was, I don't know, you know, he was exploiting like just the fact that like we are the gnarliest party, fucking out of control,
Sick.
dealing drugs, rock star, everything on top of everything graffiti crew. And that was what he was like, this is what LT is.
Yeah. We're the shit. And
And,
fuck who don't like it.
It was pretty gnarly. Yeah, it was a real motley crew of guys, you know. There was all sorts of faces in the crew, you know.
Yeah.
Hoax was dealing coke, like slanging all these bars. Like we were going bar to bar, like month in, month out, until we would all eventually get too hot and kicked out. We were living in flop houses, not paying rent. And again, just, yeah, painting every fucking day.
Damn.
The volume of graffiti we did in that 2-year stretch was, looking back, it was pretty impressive actually. I got
Sounds like it.
I got some photo albums. That was all definitely still hard copy photo years.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I pretty much got, you know, I got hard copy photos up to around 05,
Yeah.
06 when shit started going digital.
Right.
You know,
Right. Now,
everybody-
were you catching freight out there too?
a little bit. Yeah, here and there. It was my introduction to freights.
Yeah.
Hoax's younger brother, Obsessed, rest in peace. He passed away a couple years ago. Unfortunately, he was shot.
Damn.
You know, he was kind of always in Hoax's shadow, but still, actually, hard to say. He might have, you know, had a little, almost more impact just because of his freight game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Obsessed was, he was a big, rowdy, kind of hick cowboy, urban, just knucklehead.
Sick.
I've seen
Great
him.
description.
I've seen him in one chug down a whole pitcher of beer.
Fire.
He would get us kicked out of everywhere we went.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he would steal anything he wanted from the bar. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
ripping signs off of walls, taking knives, carving into walls. Like the obnoxiousness of all those guys was great.
Yeah.
You know?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it was so easy to have fun and get over there because that city alone, you can say they're about 10 years behind.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
every coastal region,
Yeah.
you know, has the upper hand on technology and what life is like now. You're living in the now. But out there, no, it wasn't like that. It was definitely a little behind in the times, and we exploited that for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Literally, I mean, it was kind of like records would stop when we'd walk into some of those pubs out there. These old guys would be like, "Who in the fuck are all these people?"
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. We had like the drug dealer guy, the punk rock dude, the hip hop guy. Like, it was just really fucking wild, and we were getting loose. A really, really fun point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got into some dangerous situations though. You know, I did have a gun pulled on me by some security guard, copish kind of guy. You know,
Local hero.
paint a wall, and the guy comes from above the wall with a revolver pointed right at my forehead.
Fuck.
And like an idiot, well, maybe not. I just looked right, looked left, and dashed as quick as I could. And, you know, for only thing I said to him was just paint, don't shoot. Kind of held the can up, dashed, you know, got out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had some pretty crazy chases, man.
Yeah.
a good chase story. Someone asked me a while back, "What's your best chase story?" I'm like, "Fuck, man, I don't even know anymore." But
Yeah.
there was a pretty good one about one of the first nights me and Guru painted. A bull crept up on us when we were painting this yard called the Arena. It's where several tracks converge together from the outskirts of town to run into the main huge line in downtown.
Oh, okay.
And it's designed so all the streets are built above it. So there's multiple just tunnels and under bridge areas to paint.
Wow.
And tons of trains get laid up there left and right.
Okay.
And then along it all is warehouse backings. So it's a whole huge fucking playground.
Yeah, sounds like it.
It's a good place to go, to go check out if you're ever there. But we were actually doing a really good spot down there. It was a really nice wall. We were doing good straight letters, and kind of where it was, couldn't really watch down the line too well. And there was an access road that came from up top, right on the opposite end of the bridge. And a bull had zoomed down. He didn't know we were there, but he zoomed down, zipped around the corner, and was, feet from us.
Fuck.
And of course, yeah, it's like, well, okay, it's not police, but still, we got to shake this guy.
Yeah.
So we ended up splitting up, and, I was hiding in some bushes, and they called backup, and trucks were rolling all around trying to find us, to hem us up. And I ended up hiding. There was a humongous tractor tire inside of a bush. But it was right along one of the back little access roads in back of the factories.
Sure.
I jumped in this tire and kind of curled up
Yeah.
because I saw they were coming back around. And I'm laying in this tire, man, all hunched up, and I can hear their truck rolling 3 feet.
Fuck.
I'm right in this giant plant in a
Yeah.
tire, and
Yeah.
they're creeping right on by at 3 miles an hour. And I was like, man, this is close.
Yeah.
I got so bit up by mosquitoes that time.
Oh.
I mean, my whole arm, I got nailed.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But, eventually we got out of there.
Yeah.
We had to dash immediately. There was no time to pick up our paint. The bulls had run over, smashed all of our cans flat.
Oh, fuck.
But we went and painted some other spots that night, and we
Yeah.
went back a few hours later and finished.
Oh, shit. Still got the spot.
We did, yeah. It ran for quite a while. I got a flick of that one. It was a real good one.
Sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think, man. Yeah, St. Louis. There was a lot of St. Louis stories.
Yeah, sounds like it. I mean, fuck, dude. 2 years there with fucking the origins of LD. I can't imagine.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff to paint. You could do it all in one night. You could hit a billboard, a fire escape, a freight. Fuck, dude, we painted an airplane.
An airplane, like an abandoned one, or
yeah,
like a
yeah. There was a junkyard
Oh, okay.
that we would sneak into on Sundays.
Okay.
And they had a whole fleet of old Metro buses and an airplane. And
Sweet.
yeah, we called it the LD Junkyard. We would go there on weekends, on
Damn.
Sundays, and just all day just go off.
Wow.
That was a fun spot. And then too, there was a place called the Cass Warehouse where it's basically been donated for art by the owner.
Oh, sick.
But at the time, that was kind of before that was really recognized. It was
Okay.
it was still pretty much illegal, but throughout the months and into the years, the owner started showing up and just saying, "No, it's okay. I own it. Like, I'm the owner, guys. You can paint it."
Oh, shit.
But yeah, at first it was still like, I don't know. But it was a really good yard.
Yeah.
It was 5-story place, right along Amtrak lines.
Okay.
The train rolls right in front of this warehouse. So we're like, great. And you can see it from the freeway too. So it's not really a freeway spot, but it's out there in the distance. But it is a good spot, So yeah, we spent a lot of time in there,
Yeah.
painting in there.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah, there was just a lot we were up to.
That sounds
There was
epic.
a lot.
That sounds epic.
It
dude.
was, but yeah, as a couple of those years went by, Hoax got hemmed up. He always had warrants,
Yeah,
and
word.
he was a dealer, so he always carried a gun.
Yeah.
He started going in, getting out, going back in
Sure.
into jail. Also, well, yeah. So, yeah, this is another big part too. So, toward I want to say around the end of 03, maybe into early 04,
Okay.
when the internet shit was starting to get big, 4ZK and another one of our guys were going online and talking to these cats from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And we're kind of like, yeah, whatever about it. We're like, yeah, okay, you're talking to these Pittsburgh kids.
Sure.
Cool, but it's kind of far. And
Yeah.
eventually they're like, we're going to go there and paint with these guys. We're like, cool.
Sick. Let's go.
So they started going up to paint. Then more of us started going to paint. And then this group of guys came to St. Louis.
Uh-huh.
And it was one of my, what turned out to be some dear friends of ours. Friend Yeti, rest in peace. A few other guys tied, and my friend Swayze had moved out there, like I had told you a long time ago. So I was like, hey, you guys got to meet my friend. And they all became pals.
Sick.
So eventually, 4ZK and, moved out there with this kid, Durag. And they hooked up and started painting out there. So we're like, well, we all got to start going out. So we started doing the whole back and forth.
Damn.
All of a sudden, St. Louis and Pittsburgh, it was like a tumbleweed
And
of
just
like
popped off.
of like one, whole unit. And they started grilling Pittsburgh hard. Definitely like obnoxiously to
Wow.
where it pissed off a lot of the other local riders. Got a lot of bad attention. They made bad attention for themselves as well. At one point, I think one of the guys did a newspaper article bragging about, how they were the rock star, we don't give a fuck graffiti guys, as, they were, but in a sense. But, it was one of the newer guys, and it was kind of like, I don't know, man, maybe you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And he really shouldn't have done that, because just a couple weeks later, they were tagging drunk and got caught. And they got reamed pretty hard. But anyways, there was still a lot going on. And I started going to Pittsburgh to paint. Definitely, it was smashed.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh had a great look. There was a lot of graffiti out there.
Sick.
It was a bigger city than St. Louis. More stuff was crushed. It had more of a rich history of graffiti. There were already existing crews out there
Okay.
that had already done a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty useless when it comes to geography, but how far is Pittsburgh from St. Louis?
It's I think it's about a 8-hour drive.
Oh, it's a decent drive.
It's a decent drive. And it's still far from the coast. It still takes even though Pittsburgh and Philly are in the same state, they're still across from one another end to end. So you're still 4 hours away from Philadelphia.
Damn.
And quite a ways from the eastern seaboard. It still is, I think, considered the Midwest. It may be. It may be not. But it definitely seems like it is.
Okay.
And there was a little Chicago in there, too. We would go paint Chicago once in a while.
Yeah.
But at that point in time, Chicago was known as Buff City. Chicago was like, meh, we aren't taking graffiti here. We stamp it out harder than any other town. And they kind of did.
Damn.
And their scene there was definitely a little sleepy at the time. They still had people there, obviously pre D30, there were A2M guys there, that were there and had been doing it, but it was kind of like the sleeping dog at that point in time.
Gotcha.
Now it's awoken. Now it's bombed. That all those D30 guys, Next and obviously Wise, they've smashed it, and it's actually pretty hit. I was out there last year, and I've never seen that much graffiti there as I did this last trip.
Yeah.
I was happy for them, and
I mean, you're talking 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And there's been a lot of riders that have come up there since then too.
Yeah.
Good buddy Muse, my buddy Morgan's out there, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
Morgan's a cool dude.
yeah, KWT kids, all good people. So that that was a little part of a little Midwest excursion, but LD pissed off a lot of the local riders out there. There was a pretty big tiff that took place. It all got eventually handled, but there was definitely a lot of people just like, fuck these guys,
Yeah.
They were, it wasn't necessarily so much me. I only popped out there a few times, but I was smashing it too, like pretty nasty.
Yeah.
And at the time we were still shooting film, and I tried to, take all the pictures I could. You got to go back the next day and get your flick. It was kind of more annoying, but I had a pretty decent arsenal of like shit I did in Pittsburgh, and eventually around the end of 2003, the very beginning of 2004, I got nabbed just rolling with hoax on his warrants, picked up by PD. And unfortunately, I had all of my Pittsburgh flick. I don't know why, but for some reason, I must have been taking them somewhere. I had all my Pittsburgh pictures in the car.
Ooh, so you had all this
and
evidence.
A trunk full of paint.
Yeah.
And of course, I didn't get charged with anything, but hoax went in for a while.
Okay.
That day, he ended up wrestling with the police on the pavement that time, and it was pretty crazy. They definitely held me pretty much illegally for a day, just trying to give me fake charges because I was with hoax.
Yeah.
They knew we were the ones fucking their place up, and they were pissed at us.
Yeah.
They didn't have anything on me, but they were still like,
they're gonna fuck with you.
Fuck this kid. Yeah. So I was hanging around, for a day, whatever. One day ain't shit.
Yeah.
But I had to wait. They're like, okay, the gang detective is coming in tomorrow. He needs to interview you before you can leave. I'm like, oh shit, the gang guy, huh? Oh.
Yeah.
So right, yeah. Next day comes in. They're photographing all of our tattoos, asking us about our crew, and I guess in retrospect, I didn't have to say anything.
Yeah.
I decided to talk to him because hey, they ain't got shit on us.
Right.
I'll just tell them what they want to hear, so they'll let me go. They'll send me on my way, right?
Yeah, I'm just hanging out, man.
Yeah, they were like, so how many people are in this crew? And I was like, I don't know, maybe 10. And I talked to Hoax later on. I'd seen him, somewhere in there, and he's like, oh, I told him it was like worldwide. I was like, oh my God. Like, of course you would, bro. Of course you would.
That's fire.
Yeah, that was his whole mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So either way,
He's like, we're sick as fuck, detective.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That totally. That was his whole shit.
That's sick.
Yeah. He loved it. He loved just being the wildest fucking fucker that there could possibly be walking Earth.
Yeah.
Which was great, but at that point, I was like, let's not do this.
Right.
But,
a little cuttier.
Yeah, he was stuck in for a couple months at that point, and, I was out a day later, and, I was flagged at that point. Yeah. I got pulled over for speeding one day, and police walk up and say, hey, we know about you. You're in our files. What are you doing right now? Like, what's on you? And I was pulled over on an interstate. This was like a fucking state trooper guy. And I was like, whoa, okay, I'm hot here.
Yeah.
It's time to fucking...
It's bad.
I'm going back to Cali.
Yeah.
It had been 2 years.
Okay.
I told myself 1, maybe 2, but we were having so much fun.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean,
I didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
Like, we were running shit, having a blast, going to Pittsburgh, dipping to Chicago when we wanted. And it was just too much fun. But yeah, hoax went down. I was hot.
No, it's a good call.
People's lives were changing.
Yeah.
Certain people were settling down, not painting as much, and
right.
It just got a little weird. And I was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So in 2004, I went back to San Francisco, and with that, when I got back to San Francisco, of course, I was in my head, LD, crazy. Let's fucking turn it up. Let's get wild.
Yeah.
I had this whole, I was like, let's be fuckers, and yada yada.
When you came back, were you still repping VCR?
Oh no. I hung up VCR basically the San Mateo years.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
that I took it to San Mateo.
Yeah.
I was definitely, you know, trying to get notoriety. Like, yo, like I'm from this important crew up north. I swear, you know, they didn't know, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, nobody knew or cared.
Gotcha.
And when I had gone to San Francisco, it was like nobody knows about this crew.
Sure.
It was a very like small town crew, you know, and it pretty much kind of just took a back seat in my life, and
Okay.
I think a lot of us original guys from that crew, a lot of them just kind of like got into hard drugs. They were like getting into like gnarly theft crime.
Shit.
And yeah, they started, you know, totally going down bad paths. But you know, I heard from some friends that like they're doing better now, and
That's good.
you know, people are okay. You know, other people moved. So yeah, I was like, okay, well, it's, you know, it's just kind of over, you know, and
Yeah.
that's that. But you know, it wouldn't surprise me if the reins got taken, you know, by younger gen or people just stoked, you know.
Yeah,
And-
I've definitely
and
seen
if-
VCR still up.
I have, and I just don't know if it's still
Oh.
the same, you know, like, oh, you guys new turn,
Yeah.
you know, and a few of the other guys. I would like to know.
Yeah, it would be cool.
It would be cool. Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
coming back in SF, repping LD.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Well-
I was definitely, I came back, you know, just amped up,
On some rowdy shit.
kind of ready to go. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And you know, and two, oh yeah, another thing too, a funny story I wanted to mention, I was thinking about was, when I was around the first year into St. Louis, because we were the only ones there to paint with, you know, and
Yeah.
I had Bay Area roots. I was friends, you know, with Gour was a TKO guy from LA,
Yeah.
and he had put Hoax's brother Obsess in because he's like, hey, like, write this with me.
Yeah.
We're the only guys out here.
Gotcha.
Eventually, they were like, Zeam, you're in the crew with us. You know the Bay TKOs, which was
Okay.
Attic, Skirt,
Yeah.
Rescue, Dut, a few others,
Yeah.
you know, Odds, and they were like, yeah, you know all those guys, man, and
Yeah.
you're here with us, so
Yeah.
it's good. So I was like, okay, so you know, I became part of that. And what was funny, again for sport, the LA guys decided, hey, why don't we have an inter-crew battle? And this was in like, I want to say this was in summer 2003
Okay.
because, and I remember that well because I had left that summer to come back to San Francisco. I spent a month in San Francisco that summer.
Okay.
You know, I was taking the vibe back. I was like, look, I'm going to go stay, you know, where I can, couch surf for
Sure.
a month of the summer.
Yeah.
You know, I had stayed at C4's. I was friends with this girl. She went to the East Coast, gave me the keys to her house and her car. So, you know, like it
Homie.
was a really fun summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we were painting a lot.
Yeah.
You know, friends, my buddy Percept, we were doing a lot of spots.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to him. He was really good Bay Area, all city guy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that summer was pretty badass. I was spending it in San Francisco, and the LA guys say, hey, look, we want to have an inter-crew battle between St. Louis and LA. 3 guys, 3 categories. And a few people know about this, but it was a pretty good deal. Gour was battling Alloy for the best piece. Haler was battling Obsess for the biggest roller.
Oh shit.
And I was to battle a rider by the name of Rush for bombing. And I had met Rush once
Okay.
in LA. I don't remember when because I was back and forth too a whole bunch
Yeah.
before I'd moved to St. Louis and had kind of met some of those guys through Attic.
Okay.
We had gone down, you know, to like make money and whatever. And, you know, that opened up that whole world of people,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Attic was already, you know, affiliated with all them. And, so I'd met a lot of those guys already and we had stayed in touch. So yeah, I kind of knew them too, you know?
Okay.
So that was a pro. And anywho, I was out in SF. And they're like, yeah, basically you guys got all month to do this. Whoever wants to do it whenever, just 4 weeks, do whatever whenever.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm in SF. And I was painting. I was partying and painting.
Yeah.
I was having a great fucking summer.
Yeah.
I really wasn't putting my all into this bombing battle. I just knew that I had, for the deadline, I had a week back in St. Louis before I knew it was over.
Oh, okay. So you're like, I'm going to get what I get here in SF, and I'm going to fucking catch a wreck in St. Louis.
Yeah, like I painted casually during the San Francisco summer.
Sure.
I definitely did like a good amount of spots.
Yeah.
But it was like fun shit. It wasn't like forced to bomb, like all right, guys, I got to leave. I got to go out tonight.
Yeah.
Show these fuckers what I got, you know? I was just
Pretty
like,
good way of motivating the crew, though.
We were goofing off. Yeah, absolutely. We were goofing off, though, like here in the city and casually painting for fun. But when I got back to St. Louis, I was like, okay, I'm going to fucking go, right?
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, too, that L.A. and St. Louis are two whole different animals of cities when it comes to bombing.
Sure.
What you can get away with, how you're going to get away with it. It was a little kind of, one-sided because Los Angeles is fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
Full of fucking gangs, helicopter fucking police. It's a gnarly fucking
ghetto
place. Yeah, Los Angeles is...
yeah.
It's a place. It's one of a kind. And I'm kind of, miles of abandoned train tracks and factories, I'm like, haha, all right. I kind of have the unfair advantage, but because of that, I'm going to fucking really, really, really do what I can to show them. So yeah, it's bombing, right?
Yeah.
Don't need to do pieces on walkouts, which... lo and behold, Rush knocked some really gnarly, like straight letter walkouts
Sick.
Over freeways and did some pretty hardcore dangerous shit. He definitely got me on what you would call like just being hardcore about it.
Yeah.
But I went to work on, what is bombing, which is two colors, stomping, taking space.
Yeah.
I probably would have been a little more foggy on what I had done, but after it had all went down, I had written a letter to a friend of mine back in San Francisco, like a handwritten letter, and I never fucking mailed it to him. I found it like about 4 years ago in a notebook in my house. I was just like looking through some random old ass notebook, and I started reading it, and I was talking to him about the battle, and it was pretty good, man. I had 7 days, and I gave myself about 12 to 15 fills a day, and I would have 100 by the end of the week.
Oh, fuck.
And that was my goal. And
wow.
That was what I did. And
100 throws in a week.
Yeah, I wrote to him, and straight letters too.
Yeah.
I wrote to him about it, and I was like, in my words, I said, yeah, it's been hectic. I've been chased a lot. It's sucked having to steal all this paint all fucking week. Like,
yeah,
it was definitely pretty, it was a lot of work.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Work. Yeah. Just dirty every day. Dirty, it's a big dirty city.
Yeah.
Climbing around in a lot of filth down there. So, yeah, everything went well. And, as far as the battle was concerned, everyone's like, wow, okay, you fucking tore Rush into shreds. But kudos to him because he did some
quality bangers.
Quality hardcore shit.
Yeah.
It was mad dangerous and definitely a little more risky. But yeah, when it comes to what bombing is, I got him. But yeah, and then Alloy ended up blowing Gooer out the water on his piece, which
Sick.
Gooer's a great piecer. I felt he didn't really display what he had. He kind of, I don't know, he kind of just let it slip.
Word.
And then Obsess and Haler, man, they both did humongous fucking rollers.
Really?
And both of them think that theirs was chunkier.
Yeah.
There's obviously, they never came to agreement on that.
Okay.
But it came to the point where they literally got measuring tape and they tried to measure out in feet.
Okay.
And still, it was still there was always an indiscrepancy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, I obviously saw the Obsessed one multiple times, and man, and I've seen dozens and dozens of flicks of the Hailers, so they both went humongous, monstrous
sick.
rollers. So yeah, props to those guys for that. So you know, all in all, you call that, you know, a draw, and
Yeah.
then flip flop. The whole thing was a tie. So it's tight, right? It's a tie. Like, good.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I look at it.
But
So
it's sick though that you guys all pushed each other super hard in like a very
Yeah.
friendly, competitive way.
that was definitely something really cool that came out of, you know, that little stretch of living out there and being involved with that crew. Yeah, and you know, a couple years back into SF, you know, around 06, some shit went down, and a lot of people left that crew, including me and like my branch, and you know, Lowdown had to kind of just like, it got a little fizzly, just with people not painting, you know, Hulk's always in jail.
Sure.
And but lo and behold, there were some new guys fucking seeping up from the fucking cuts, and they were preparing to take the reins, you know, for a lot of weight that the crew carried.
Yeah.
But they were still kind of in their early stages of like, you know, picking up the pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't know these kids. I was going back there to hang out regularly, but they were still like the real new guys. I wasn't sure, you know, if they were serious or who knows what. You know, I'm not there. I pop in for a week and hi, bye. But the new gen of Lowdown is great.
Yeah.
They've done a lot.
Yeah. No, for sure.
They've done a
LD
lot
gets down.
to hold it down. Yeah, they've expanded. You know, now they got guys in Kentucky. You know, Louisville. Yeah, and you know, kind of all over that little area, man. They hit Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. You know, they got some Texas shit going on.
Yeah, some people out here in the Bay Area.
Yeah, and it even expanded a little bit to the Bay.
Yeah.
So right, yeah. I mean, and two, it went to Detroit.
Yeah.
And yeah, Gasm, Elmer, Reft, those Detroit guys, Pack, they really took it seriously, and it blew me away, man.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, like you guys really, you saw what we were doing. They were stoked. They wanted to, you know, help keep it alive.
Yeah.
Because I thought for a while there, I was like, man, like that was like some fun, short-lived sort of shit.
Right.
But it really got, you know, taken into consideration by these new cats. That's and sick. Yeah, they showed their respect, and
keeping that legacy going.
Yeah, keeping the legacy. They were inspired. We were inspired. I mean, it took me a while to warm up to them, but after I saw how much like they were about it and they cared, mm-hmm. and they, you know, they loved all the old stories, you know, the heyday years, and you know, I love telling them, you know, about all this old shit, and yeah, it's a lot of fun now, man.
Yeah,
it's great, you know, and I'm really happy for all them and all they've done. So yeah, it's great when I pop back out to the Midwest. They roll out the red carpet, and you know, it's just it's a good time.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah,
so you're sorry, go ahead.
Well, but you know, around that 06 time,
yeah.
I was just, there was a lot of uncertainty about, you know, what was happening.
Sure.
And I got out of the other clique. And for a year, I was like, you know what? I'm going crewless.
Okay.
Like great.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to do me.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. So I spent a year of just write Zeam.
Nothing.
Do me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was good. It was a little head clearing, whatever. You know, I was just
still hanging out with the homies,
living
and doing
life.
Your thing, but
yeah. But you know, things come full circle, and you know, you got to realize, right, like, who am I doing this for? Mm-hmm. I'm doing this for me.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, and who am I here with now? Who am I hanging out and painting with right now in the now?
Yeah.
So that was kind of the little reboot I wanted to do. And yeah, like right around 07, 08, I kind of started picking back up, I've also been friends for a long time with the DE crew from Riverside, San Bernardino County.
Okay.
Dark Empire crew, right?
Yeah.
A few of those guys came up around Y2K to go to college. They were SF state heads. Japan, Aider, Drama. A whole handful of them are up here. Tenfold being one of them. Lost, South City guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those guys were always my pals. They were like drinking buddies.
Sure.
My friend Smitty, DE, DJ. I was always into that sort of shit. Going to parties, spinning records, scratching, that whole nine. Those guys were always my pals. So they were like, "Look, Zeam, we know what all this shit that's happened to you. You've been all over, They're like, "Look, we want you to be in our crew too," but they're like, "You're honorary, bro. Just do what you want."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Great. Okay, awesome." So I kind of picked up there. And two, with my boy Reef and Track, I was always, kind of like a background HBK. They were a Tenderloin crew.
Okay.
HBK San Francisco was Tenderloin, all the Asian homies, for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, they put me and Swayze in, we were like, okay, we'll be the white boys in the crew,
Yeah. Sick.
but we, Cass, he got down to HBK. So there were a few of us white dudes, but,
Okay.
yeah, but it was pretty much like thugged out TL, like dealing Asian homies, and we're like sick,
Yeah.
these were our boys, we were smoking blunts all the time. HBK hitting blunt cuts,
Yeah, that's fire.
Yeah. So,
I always love good. I don't even know why I can't think of the fucking word right now, but HBK hitting blunt cuts.
hitting Bus's crew.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, Jade. So yeah, Jade got put in too. Jade Rock.
Sick.
Yeah, BTM.
R.I.P.
Yeah, so Jade, right around that time too, around 09, 08-ish. I want to probably around 08. I was hanging out with Jade a lot. Reef lived with me for a brief point in time around 06, 07.
Okay.
And Jade was, a big weed smoking buddy of ours. He had been painting San Francisco for years. He was obviously a heyday Golden Era writer.
For sure.
He had been THR, along, KUK. All he was in US in the 90s, like all the,
Yeah.
pretty much main,
The doper crews of
the
San
doper
Francisco.
good crews.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
He was like a friend of Twist, and of course, Vic 20, and so we all started painting. I started doing some spots with Jade and Vic. Vic liked me in cuts a lot because Vic is, he's a very, how can I put this? He loves vandalism.
Yeah.
He loves
Yeah.
the just the straight to the point, sheer vandal factor.
Okay. Yeah.
He loves it that it's crime. He loves,
That
just
good old fashioned fuck you.
good old fashioned fuck you.
Yeah.
KUK assault.
Yeah.
That is their shit.
Yeah.
Like, and what they had done, I'm sure a lot of you guys know. And when I was in St. Louis around 02, 03, they socked it to Bart.
Yeah.
And that was when, they had the big case. If you listen to Dregs's podcast with Vic, Vic talks a lot about that and what happened. It's a really good one.
Yeah.
So yeah, all that was happening while I was gone, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
these guys are they're going off right now. Like, this
Damn.
is great.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we're going off. They're going off. Like, the Bay's getting fucking wrecked,
Yeah.
KUK's like a terrorist graffiti crew.
Yeah.
And I'm
yeah.
like, yes, like, I know those guys. So I'm telling all these St. Louis
Yeah,
people, like,
yeah.
these are my homies. This is fucking crazy. Unfortunately, some people did have to sit down for a little bit.
Yeah.
But, 5-6 years later now, we're in 07, 08, a few of them were like painting again. And yeah, me and Jay and Vic started hanging a little more, going to paint cutty spots, yards up in Oakland, Temescal walls. We did a few up there.
Sick.
Yeah, and Jabe was coming around a lot, and he just kind of saw me like doing my own thing, and he put me down in BTM.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, so that all of a sudden, boom.
This was like 08.
08, 09-ish. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
right around then, I was just kind of, just hustling and painting, just kind of living life at that point.
Yeah.
Everything was kind of in cruise control. I was, I'd come back in '04 from St. Louis, so I was kind of just like,
Yeah.
I was all set, I was,
Yeah. A little bit more seasoned in the game.
yeah,
You knew what you like to do.
finally found a good place to live.
Okay.
That took a while.
Yeah.
After coming back from St. Louis, I think I moved 4 or 5 times in 1 year, just like
Jesus.
house to house to house.
Yeah. Trying to figure things
Trying
out.
to get a cool place to live. But yeah, at that point, I'm like, okay, everything's going, everything's all right. But when that happened, that was kind of like a bomb dropped,
Yeah.
It was like, oh shit. And I had met a good handful of those guys in 99, 2000, when right before, when I had gotten back from Santa Barbara and I was living with Swayze
Okay.
in 2000, that was when BTM mobbed San Francisco. They had always come down to like paint from Seattle, Seattle based.
Yeah.
/ Vic was one of the originators of the crew, like Marin Bay area,
Mm-hmm.
and he was tied in with them. So yeah, it was like Bay Seattle, but in 2000, Attic and Curse, Flair, Take, and Buck moved all in one to SF.
Damn.
Yeah, and they were ready.
Yeah.
Like they were just like jet set.
That's
we're
a hell
fucking,
of a squad.
We're fucking your city up. We're here and
Yeah.
we're here to stay.
Yeah. Sick.
So those guys went on pulverized mode immediately. Oh yeah, Tron, aka Effects, he was another one that came down. They were working it, man.
Yeah.
They were doing really nasty big ass shit on streets that, I mean, of course it was going on and had been done, but they had a really gnarly vandalish thing going.
Yeah.
They were fucking shit up big time. Big nasty fills.
Actually, just saw. What is it? I think it was just a big time mob. It's a silver and white fill with a black outline and a yellow background. Like 2 days ago, like coming off of 101 on.
Where it?
Shout out Siri.
Yeah.
No, it was the exit coming off of the Bay Bridge, and then like not the first exit, but the second exit, so you can get on Brandon to cross over to 280.
Okay.
There's a building on the right, and there's a big time.
Oh, right.
mob.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that one was Camel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Camel's a new member.
Okay. Good for him.
Yeah, Fells and Skirt,
Yeah.
kind of made that one happen. Yeah.
That's it. That's a good addition.
Yeah. Guy, he's painting really hard right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can't go anywhere in the Bay Area without seeing a camel.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah, kudos, man. That guy's great. But yeah, man, those guys, when they first came here, it was like great, and C4 it was friends with Attic. I met Attic through him. And they were great, man. Like it was during that time, like everybody would hang out on Market Street at Powell. You could go down to Powell and there was always somebody from BTM chilling right up top from the subway station, leaning against the rail. They would hang there all day and just go rack.
Fire.
And you could pull up and say, hey, I want, like, they'd be like, what do you want? We'll go get it. We'll be back in an hour.
Yeah.
You could tell them you wanted video games. You wanted pairs of jeans.
Yeah.
They were hitting like designer stores, like doing shit that it was like new to me.
Yeah.
it had never even crossed my mind to go into
You're just
Louis
really
Vuitton.
racking paint, right?
Yeah. I wasn't thinking like go into Louis Vuitton and like
Yeah.
come up on all this shit. Yeah, they were going to Lacoste store and like all these places. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Like these guys are onto some shit,
Keys to the city, right? Not just like the fence clippers. I'm talking about like fucking security magnets and the keys to like unlock all that shit.
They were doing all that shit.
Yeah.
Right. Like they were, eBay is another,
Oh yeah.
hush hush, but
Oh no.
that was brand new then too.
We don't
brand,
have to say
new.
anything on the podcast, but like, UGS definitely has a, in the early 2000s of UGS, there was a multiple PayPal accounts, multiple eBay
Of course,
accounts,
but of course.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's rad, man. They were really pushing it.
Yeah.
And and I saw that, and we would just hang out. We'd be rolling down Market Street, smoking weed, and look over, and there they'd all be.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, oh, let's park and go hang out with those guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, right away, like they were friendly for the most part. Not if you didn't know them.
Right.
Curse was a tough guy, man. Yeah, rest in peace to Curse too.
Yeah.
But he was, if he didn't like you, he would take what you had. Like.
Fire.
And if you pissed him off, you're getting punched. Or worse. I mean, they just didn't take shit.
Yeah.
They got what they wanted. They bombed. And, I was like, great. These are good guys.
These are my folks.
Friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, good. We know you guys too. Fuck yeah. These guys are over here if you need them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as time went on, we kept seeing them around more and more.
Sure.
So right away, when Jay told me, hey man, you BTM, I said, great.
Yeah.
I've known you guys for a long time.
Yeah, just
we
lined up.
hang out a lot now.
Yeah.
We were practically neighbors at that point in time. So it was just fitting, and that's what it was,
Yeah.
It was a fit. Yeah, it was kind of
That's sick.
This is here, we're here, so let's get after it, And yeah, man, just it's been a while now, right?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
You said 08?
Yeah, right around then, 08, 09.
Okay. So that would be 15 years.
Right. Yeah.
Damn, 15 years of BTM.
So yeah, since then, lots happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time, traveling around.
Yeah.
I regularly stop into St. Louis annually.
Hang out with the homies.
Exactly. Yeah. I started going to Chicago a lot to visit friends, paint with all those guys. The DE guys have, a little bit of, they got some friends out there. We had a pretty big crew meeting out there.
Sick.
I think that was in 2015. Yeah, man, I started going to SoCal a lot more, doing, I got a buddy who lives down in Texas now. My boy Dive. Diver's, he's a big freight painter guy.
I was gonna say I have definitely flicks of you and Dive on.
Yeah. Dive's great. Him and our friend Drios from Los Angeles, they were on a route across the U.S. filling up the back of their truck in 2003-ish, and that's how I met them. They stopped in St. Louis.
Okay.
When we were all painting with the LD guys.
Sick.
And they showed up, and we're just like, holy shit! Like, this is what you guys are doing here? Okay, we're gonna stick around. So they didn't leave for a couple weeks. We had Jenks come out around that point in time. Yeah, he's like, this is great. I'm gonna stay here a lot longer than I thought. He was hitchhiking across the country actually at that point, and I picked him up at a truck stop. And again, he saw what we were doing. He's like, this is fucking great. Yeah, we're just sticking around. So that's how I met Dive. But Dive ended up kind of sticking around the Midwest. He when the whole Pittsburgh thing got into full swing, he moved up there just on his own, just to join in and start painting with those guys.
Nice.
Yeah. And
was Dive ever out here?
Dive was actually originally a San Diego guy.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say I could have sworn I have a flick of you and Dive on a Granite Rock line, which is a local line.
Yeah. We've he's come up here to hang out and paint the bay.
Okay.
Yeah, we did some freights in Richmond.
Yeah, I was gonna say because Granite
I think
Rock,
that's where that got done.
to my knowledge, only goes Watsonville all the way up to like Roseville, like Sacramento area, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, he's always been a train guy.
Yeah.
He would take me out to El Centro around, that like BTM, pre-BTM years,
Sure.
the 07, 08, 09. I was going to San Diego a lot when he lived there, and we would venture a couple hours east to this town, El Centro, and we'd paint freights all night, and that was kind of his thing. You know, San Diego, the city's like pretty squeaky clean kind of place. You know, a lot of the canyons have like under freeway, under river spots,
Sure.
and all that sort of stuff going off.
Yeah.
So we would go do all that, but for the most part, we're like, let's do trains. There
Yeah.
was a yard called the TDK yard that was really cool. That's no longer anymore. But you know, you can sneak around and do some too.
In
And,
San Diego?
yeah, you can sneak around and get some freights in like the military shipyard, the Navy yard
Interesting.
area. You can get them down there, but you got to really be on your toes.
What did TDK stand for?
Well, it was for the Oakland crew.
Oh, really?
I think they had if memory serves, they had kind of like coined that yard the TDK yard.
No
Even
shit.
though it was down in San Diego.
Wow.
But I think they were painting it.
That's cool.
And yeah, a few of the San Diego locals can probably tell you more about it. If you know some San Diego people. But yeah, Dive was down there. He really wasn't, you know, bombing, going off, destroying the city. You know, he was tied in, you know, with his friend. He was in an old crew called OA on acid that Drios was in. Drios was a San Diego guy when he was younger. But they were friends with, you know, a couple of the MDR people.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
some of the older gen, you know, guys that are cool. But yeah, so we would paint with them too.
Okay.
And we were just like, he was like, it's freight yard, let's go. It's 2 hours, but we're going to it. We can paint all night.
Yeah.
And of course it was laid up better in the past, but he started taking me and we got what we could down there.
Yeah.
We did a couple whole cars, you know, and would just, you know, focus on doing straight letters and that too. So, and in St. Louis, that was, like I told you, that was my introduction to trains. I didn't know shit about them. And those guys, Obsessed, taught me a lot about the trains, about lines. I didn't know company car names. I didn't know shit.
Yeah.
And they really kind of got me into it, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a very hobbyist sort of
Would you say
side
you're a
to
foamer now?
graffiti. What's that mean?
A foamer? It's like a nickname for, like, you know, those people in the Midwest that'll sit there and just like know every single little fucking detail about freight culture.
I'm not.
Yeah. Okay.
No. I mean, you know, I know what I know. I learn what I can, and I appreciate it a lot. You know, and I obviously have acquired a lot of knowledge about all that shit. But yeah, there's guys that are just like it's their life. You know, like the TCI guys.
Yeah.
You know, all them, and yeah, that's like, oh shit, yeah. Freight nerd dudes, great. You know, I'm not really there.
Yeah.
But I love it. I appreciate it. I try to get them when I can.
Yeah.
It's great.
Right.
So yeah, I had learned a little bit out in St. Louis, and kind of got, you know, back on that road, painting them with Dive, and spending time in El Centro. It went well, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely got a few out there that are still running, but doing so, you know, around that time, and this is still like 09-ish. A lot of the old St. Louis ones were getting flicked, posted online, and even ones we were doing out there in Southern California were like getting caught quickly. But you got to use good paint, man. You got to lay it on thick. And that's when I was like, wow, like a lot of all these St. Louis trains, like a lot of them that I did next to Obsess, mine were like faded, disappearing.
Wow.
Like just the shine would be there. The whole fill would be gone because I used chrome.
Yeah.
And Obsess used Rusto and
right.
fat caps. And I was just like, whatever, like it's cool.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't cool, you know?
Yeah.
And then after seeing a few of them El Centro ones getting caught, falling off after a few years, I was like, wow, I need to really like, if I'm going to do these, I need to
gloss paint
and paint it thick, like go over the out. Like I realized like, whoa, like I'm kind of blowing it.
Yeah.
And why do it if you're not doing it right?
Now, you rocking like full pieces and colors, or are you just sticking to a lot of chrome? Because I mean, I've been, you know, for the most part, following you for a long time, and like I do see you rock colors, but for the most part, you're pretty much a stick to a chrome or a white fill, black outline kind of guy.
Yeah. I mean, right. And I like doing pieces from time to time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just kind of cover more ground, get more done.
Yeah.
I
totally feel that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just every once in a while I'm like, oh shit, it's like a 3-color Zeam. You don't see those too often.
Yeah, not so much. I mean, of course I try, you know, and you know, do a color scheme when I can.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I do more like riskier stuff. You know, like I'm not too into legal walls.
Sure.
I do them once in a while when I get invited to them, or
Yeah.
if like people come into town and they want to paint like real quick,
Yeah.
hassle free.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
we
for
can
sure.
go get a wall, but it's really not my swing. I'd rather, you know, just kind of be more on the other side of the fence
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
in that manner. Yeah. So, but yeah, and on trains too. You know, colors are great on trains.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. But you know, we try to just get more done when we're in the yard.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you are only doing a 2 or 3 color on freight, you got to do a good job on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because these guys will come now with
Yeah.
fucking cases, you know, Montanas and ladders.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna do it, you better have a good name for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You better lay it down thick and do a good job.
Yeah, I was recording just 2 days ago with Twigs, and we were talking about how the freight culture has changed so much. You know, where you would go into a yard and it'd be like 4-foot pieces. You know, these tiny little 4-foot pieces, because it was more of a numbers game of
Absolutely.
like getting the most panels and shit.
Oh, yeah.
But now it's like 20 colors, fucking you know, extendo ladder going halfway up to the fucking car, coming over everything. You know, so it's very different now.
Yeah, that's changed a lot too. It really has.
Yeah.
So yeah, I took notice and realized that I
Interesting.
need to really do this shit right.
Right,
you know?
right.
Because painting in downtown in any city, you may get a few days, couple years out of a spot at best.
Yeah.
And with the trains, they last years and years and years until they fall apart.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah.
So do a good fucking job.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good
Make
advice.
it last and don't get gone over.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's what you got to focus on. Yeah. So, right. So that kind of became my game. But again, now with the modern, you know, style of painting them, I have been stepping up to color schemes,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
for the trains.
That's sick.
And really, trying to ramp up quality because it matters. And people are going really hard on them, man.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah. Yeah, the freight scene is really cool,
It's
man.
a big deal now. Right, it is. And you know, you got to pay to play. You'll
Yeah.
get gone over if your shit ain't cool,
Right, yeah.
because a lot of people are painting them.
So when you're like visiting St. Louis and stuff, that's when you're taking advantage. And
You know, yeah. Well, right, yeah. I go down. You know, I've been painting them elsewhere now. My friend Diver moved to Texas, so I take trips out there to paint trains just for that.
yeah, that's what's up. Spraycations.
Yeah,
Nothing
as
wrong
much as
with that.
possible. As much as possible.
And you also travel a lot internationally.
Yeah, I started in 2015.
Okay.
I started doing Europe.
Yeah.
I haven't been to too many places. I've been to 9 countries.
Okay.
But a couple multiple times.
Sure.
Only up until last year, I mean, I was just going around, you know, with like a lady just doing marker tags and stickers and getting you know, just my feet wet, getting noticed, you know,
Sure.
by a few local, you know, like I did paint in Iceland with some of the guys, the guys who run Iceland, from this group HNP
Sick.
Snipers, one of the main guys, Vomit. Yeah, they're great dudes. They took me out painting out there. I think that was my first time. That was in 2015, I believe, or it might have been the second in 2016. But once you go now, thank you Instagram, haha. But people can, you know, say, hey, I saw you're in town. Let's
Yeah.
paint. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
like
No,
it.
that is one thing that's I myself have highly benefited.
Yeah, it's changed it. You know, it's more of a, you know, it's very communal now.
Yeah.
It's nice. You know, back when I first started in the early 90s, guys were, I'm sure you've heard, guys would mail photos like state to state, city, state to state, and send flicks. That was a little bit before my, you know,
Yeah.
my time and that capability, you know, but to like be good enough and, you know, and communicate with writers from other states. But I had heard about people doing that.
Yeah.
You know, and now it's just great. It's instant, you know, hey,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah, that's sick.
But I've been going out there a lot. And last year I did do a spray K, quote unquote. Me and my friend also went out there and to Italy and spent a few weeks putting in work.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knew some guys out there. He had lived there for, I think he spent a year living there.
You went last year to Italy?
Yeah,
What time?
summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was in the spring.
Right on. Yeah. I'm gonna go again this summer.
Italy is cool.
It's great.
Yeah. What part were you?
Rome.
Rome. Okay. Yeah. Well, if you go again, you might see one of my throwies.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to France quite about four
France
trips.
is tight for
four trips to
painting.
Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely want to hook up with some riders there next time I go. There's
Yeah.
a lot of people painting in France.
Yeah.
And it's great. I appreciate, you know, the whole European appreciation for graffiti.
Yeah.
I mean, as from the eyes of like people who aren't painters, you know, just society in general. They seem to not mind it as much.
Yeah.
Like here in America, government, business owners, they really, really, really try to stamp it out.
Yeah.
You see the big difference in that when
Yeah.
you go out there and then you come home and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, fuck these people. I mean, I you know, I love, you know, of course, whatever. I'm happy where I live,
Yeah.
United States, but still, it's full of bullshit,
Yeah.
and the government's trash. And it's nice to go out there. Like, I'll go back to Paris, and I'll see the same spots,
Yeah.
even the same little tags, little spray tags on roll gates.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, this was that corner.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily remember the street name,
Yeah.
but I remember it because this fucking tag was here. And year in, year out, the tag's just still
Shit
there.
runs, yeah.
I'm all cool.
Shit runs in Europe.
Yeah. I think, you know, I mean, my perspective is just like they feel like, hey, the public wants this. They're doing it.
Yeah.
They must like it.
Yeah.
Let them have it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Europe's fun.
Let the fucking people have what they want. Here they try to fucking take away what you want.
Yeah.
It sucks. But we fight back hard. you
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Graffiti's definitely not going anywhere.
No, it's not. And more people are doing it now than ever.
Yeah.
It's pretty bizarre, you know, like right now. San Francisco, of course, you know, because of COVID and all that,
Right.
graffiti ramped back up.
Oh
Oakland
yeah.
has
That's
more
great.
graffiti now than it's ever had.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. It's dope. Honestly, the Bay Area is
Mm-hmm.
really fun because it's not a fucking square inch that you can't go around and not see something.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. It really is. Yeah, I couldn't have really predicted it, but yeah, there's a lot of people painting nowadays, and too on trains.
Yeah.
And yeah, people are going all world. You know,
Yeah.
you kind of aren't shit if you aren't going all world now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like
That's how it is.
it has to be like a kind of a part of your arsenal.
Yeah, it was a big deal. Like to be in the '90s, you're up in your town, you're up in your county, and that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, now it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've been taking advantage of traveling and getting around. You know, I do what I can. I still haven't been over to Asia or, you know, that region yet,
Yeah.
but that's soon to come.
Yeah. Let me know. I'll link you up with some people.
That's great.
Japan
Yeah.
and Korea.
Great. Yeah. You know, and you know, I've trekked down to South America, you know, a few different times, and painted Mexico City. Last summer, went down for an OTR crew meeting,
Okay.
and
I was gonna ask when. I feel like OTR's been semi-recent.
yeah, that was last summer.
Okay.
You know, again, like being friends with all these LA guys I've
Yeah.
known for years. You know, a lot of them have, you know, invaded Detroit and moved around, you know,
Sure.
Yeah, a lot of good buddies of mine from down there, just kind of all over now. And yeah, we see each other everywhere we go.
No matter where I go, I still the same hole.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
It's fun. You know, we can meet up here, do this, meet in another state, do that. Oh, we're over here. We're painting New York this weekend. Oh, we're back in Detroit. Let's hang out. So, yeah, it's been good. And a lot of us, you know, kind of kind of reformed, reshaped crews. You know, old crews got revitalized a little bit. You know, the whole ALOTR thing has been a really big movement over the last few years.
Yeah.
And they've expanded, you know, and put, you know, some older friends in as myself. We had a crew meeting in Mexico City last spring, and I was invited down, you know, with a few other BTM people. A couple, you know, they put, you know, I think around seven people down
Sick.
at that meeting.
Yeah.
And I was invited and offered. So of course, you know, right. Yeah. They're my old pals from years back.
Right.
A
It's fitting.
handful of them. Yeah. There's still, you know, super OGs. I don't know. I believe the crew originated in either 87, 88 or 89.
Damn. It's
in
a
LA.
very rich history.
Yeah, of course. So there's quad OGs, you know, but
Quad OGs.
I mean, right.
That's
Yeah. If you painted in the 80s,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, hey, you know,
no, it's just you know,
Right.
because everyone, oh, what's up, Triple OG? But it's like, damn, Quad OG.
but
So
yeah,
we're getting to that
I
point.
mean, I guess, yeah, call it every decade. You
Yeah.
know, if you were painting in the 80s,
All right.
that's some shit,
Yeah.
you know. And
Yeah.
I know, you know, my homie Haler has been painting since the 80s.
Yeah.
You know, and of course, obviously, you know, we got great Bay painters that are still around
Mm-hmm.
that have been painting since the 80s as well.
Right.
You know, like shouts out to BA crew, you know, Neon and those guys.
Yeah.
I heard Swerve mentioning, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, those guys, they've all been my pals for quite some time now.
That's
you
what's
know,
up.
for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been talking a lot to my friend Soap, and he, you know, invited me down, and they're like, "Yo, yeah, it's great. Come down and, you know,
Yeah.
come down and get down."
That's
you know?
sick.
So yeah, so a whole shitload of us went down there. We were probably about 30 deep.
Damn.
Tack on another 20 people if you add in friends and family that came.
Right.
We had a few get-togethers and painted every night in crews, squads. It was,
Fuck.
you know how it is. It's hard painting 5 deep. Imagine painting 10, 15 deep.
Yeah. God, I can't
It
imagine.
was pretty rowdy. Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a lot of
What part of Mexico?
in Mexico City.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, a lot of shit went down that weekend. You know,
I was gonna say.
we had to deal with police. You know, police ended up robbing. You know, for the most part. You know,
Sure.
some of the guys. You know,
Yeah.
for shit they had on them when they got caught. There was a couple different nights where I went out and with some of the OTRs from Mexico City, and they knew police that we would pay them off to paint.
Yeah.
And they would basically escort us to do spots, obviously all illegal spots.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they were like, "Look, okay, you guys can do this. We'll let you get away with it."
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Cash out.
yeah, that was pretty fucking crazy. I'd never done anything like that.
Yeah, that's pretty fire.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we still did a lot without them around. Obviously, it was a lot of fun. That was a good week.
Yeah.
And also another shout out to the Dead City Punks, the punk rock band. They came down and played 2 shows that night, or sorry, that week. Two shows, 2 different nights. So yeah, we got to go to hardcore shows, paint, fucking, and just get down.
Fuck.
That was a really good time.
That's a hell of a way to get initiated into OTR.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And again, too, like just trying to step up the whole game, you know, and like show force. Like we're out here and we're gonna fuck shit up, and it's only gonna get better.
Yeah.
And we're only gonna go stronger.
That's a
you
big
know?
time flex for sure.
Yeah, no, it really was. Taking it international, just really trying to push it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, you know, I'm glad. I feel fortunate, you know, to have just been a part of the Bay back, you know, when I got here, and it's just what it's grown into for me. You know, I'm happy with it.
Yeah. I'm hanging out with Graffiti Royalty today.
Hey, yeah. Well, thank you, though.
I do want to touch base. I always like doing the user submitted questions. You know,
Please, sure.
Let's see here. Well, actually, you did touch. I don't even know how to pronounce this. Trepando Tijuas. But he said, how did you and Cuts link up, which we already talked about, of course.
Right.
And, let's see here. You talked about St. Louis, so kind of there.
Sure.
Shout out Gezer. He was on the podcast.
Oh, cool. Right on. Yeah, I like what he's doing. That guy's been bombing.
Yeah. So he says, choose one: tags, throw ups, or straight letters.
Whew. Who can answer that?
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. Give me a fat cap, donut cap. I'll take tags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can really flex and show what you got. If you don't have a good tag and you start doing other shit,
yeah,
you're not heading in the right direction, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You gotta have a good tag. Yeah. Don't come with some weird wispy crazy piece and have a tag that sucks next to it.
Man,
that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no. I totally feel you. I always say that I have the worst hands in UGS. I try so hard, man. I try so fucking hard, but
well, and that's how it's been coming from San Francisco, and for the most part,
yeah.
I got kind of a crazy story, but being a Bay Area guy, tagging was always really big, and having a good tag is the core of it all.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Just MYAN is really hard to flow.
Sure, yeah. A Y in the middle is an oddity.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, that's a strange one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get there one day. I'm still trying. Let's see here. SimCard_12 says, "Let me see your ass, bro."
No thanks.
Yeah, that's a little random. Let's see here. Good job, Tyler. What is the hottest spot you ever hit?
Yeah, that's a tough question to answer. I mean, I
mean, just based on what you've said already, man, it seems like there's been some dicey
situations. There has been. Right. Yeah. And two, like it's been so long now that I've been painting, man, that I'll see photos and forget even about that I did that.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, fuck. Oh yeah, that. Whoa. You know, it's been that long now.
Okay.
I mean, I'm mentally fine, thank God, and all there, but man, it's just been a lot over all these years. I think there was a good answer for that question. Me and C4 back in, this was probably in 04, 05. He had found a spot on Market Street for us to do. There was a billboard that went up off the ground. By itself, a freestanding billboard in a lot that was like only a couple feet. The billboard went up about two stories high, but it was perched a couple feet in front of a building that went up like 4 or 5 stories. Okay. And the billboard itself, the whole like framing was gone, but the stands and the planks were there.
Okay.
And he's like, let's get up and nail this fucking house or this whatever it was. It's right on Market in McCoppin right there. And that was just one of those spots where I'm like, dude, this guy's crazy. He was always painting really crazy spots, like really risky shit.
Yeah.
And that was just one of those spots where I was like, we're getting caught. I'm just going to go up there and do it.
Yeah.
Probably getting caught. Fuck it.
Yeah.
When sometimes people take you to do shit, you're like, all right, well, we're here.
Yeah.
So let's just do it.
So it was the platform and what you guys were painting on the actual building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. It was a really good spot. And it ran for quite a while. It ran for like 4 or 5, maybe 6 months.
Damn.
Yeah, we had to split between like the poles. Like he did another one of his unders he was doing. He did 2 letters on the out, 2 letters on the in with the pole dividing. And then I did the ZE on the in. And then on the opposite end, the far side, I did the AM.
Okay.
So we had like letters together in the middle and then 2 each on the outside.
Oh, okay.
It was a really cool spot.
Yeah.
And yeah,
you have pictures of that?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. And we had spectators. People were walking by and just stopping and like, oh, wow, look at these guys. Wow.
Damn.
I was like, yeah, we're getting caught. Some painting. Sure, shit. But yeah, luckily no rollers went by.
Damn.
And we got away with it.
Wow. How long do you think we were up there for?
Not that long. I mean, we were probably in and out in like 30 minutes.
Okay.
but
Yeah.
maybe a little longer than that. But
Sure.
yeah, that was just one of those ones where I was like, fuck, damn. But yeah, many hot situations, man. Having to hide and the whole nine.
I mean,
know.
you're tucked into a giant tractor fucking tire.
Jesus, yeah. There's been a lot of other chases, man. I've been in a lot of daytime chases.
Oh fuck.
I've pretty much tried to hang up painting illegal spots in the daytime because it is so much harder to get away in the fucking daytime, bro.
100%.
It is so much more difficult.
See you 10
man.
miles away.
Yeah, exactly, dude. And and when it's hot, when you're in a hot place, you're sweating. You
Yeah.
obviously when you're running away, and when it's hot like that, when you're not trying to be in jail,
Yeah.
and you got to get away.
Yeah.
You do anything. You climb anything.
Oh yeah.
You run through. You usually end up dripping sweat. You're bleeding from
Getting
your
cut
shins,
up or
your
whatever.
ankles.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've I've been through a lot.
I feel you.
I've fallen into roofs that have just given away. Being up on rooftops in old buildings.
Yeah.
All that sort of shit.
And you ever have a crazy injury or anything like that? Where you-
Fortunately not.
Yeah.
No. I've slashed my hand open pretty bad
Yeah.
on a fence, taken off from a hot situation. Other than that, no.
Yeah.
No. Lucky. Very lucky.
I twisted my ankle pretty fucking hard bombing one time. Cops on me
Yeah.
and chased me and
Yeah.
fucking it never healed right. So it's always been kind of fucked.
Yeah. No, yeah. I definitely have a lot of battle wounds for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. I got a funky ankle too because of all that sort of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, luckily nothing nasty.
Word.
Mm-hmm.
One of the questions was, how have you seen BTM change over the years?
Not much. It's still pretty it's got the whole same vibe.
Yeah. Bunch of goons getting it.
Yeah, man. Those Seattle kids, man, they were always really rowdy.
Yeah.
They came with it.
Seattle's
and,
a crazy scene.
It is, yeah. There are a lot of tough dudes, like always ready to step up, fight, like
Yeah.
hold their shit. And that crew's pretty well organized as a whole, I think. I spent a lot of time not going up there to hang out just because I was so busy going other directions,
Yeah.
For my traveling. But I started going up quite a bit recently, and we gather too for a function annually, and man, it's been really good meeting tons of these cats, that I've heard of, we've been in contact with.
Sure.
I don't know exactly when the crew originated. If I had to guess, I would say really early 90s.
Yeah.
So yeah, has it changed? I mean, as far as the people, no, it's a lot of the same. All the OG guys are still in it.
Yeah.
It is a big crew, to me, for the most part, I think. But yeah, it's sticks to its roots. Everybody who's up there, they're doing their same thing, and it stays pretty traditional with bombers. It's not so much of a piece and crew. Of course, there's some guys in there that can light it up, of course, but
That's what's up.
yeah, it's pretty much strictly just bombing and hustlers, which is great. If you're going to be in that crew, you got to bring something to the table that's
Sure.
that's for real.
The random question, and I can take this off if you don't want it on there, but I heard Macklemore is BTM.
That, I mean, I don't know about all that. I may have heard that, but right, that's like honorary.
Yeah. I don't
of friendly affiliation.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, word.
That can stay.
Okay, I didn't know, but I'm not trying to like oust his shit either. But
I don't know. I don't listen to his music.
Right.
But I know he came to Outside Lands
he actually
long
came
while
out
back. And
I'm not a Macklemore fan. I don't really listen to hip hop, really, but I definitely know he came out with a song semi recently with DJ Premier, and it was fucking sick. And he was talking about growing up, being like inspired by graffiti writers, and he talks a little bit about that in the song. It's actually pretty solid song, actually.
Sure.
Very different from the 99 cents shit, but like Yeah, someone was like, "Yeah, dude, that fool's BTM." I was like, "What?" So
Yeah, like I said, I may have heard that too. But
Okay.
again, yeah, it's just honorary friends of friends.
yeah.
All that
Homies
sort of
hanging
thing.
out with homies. Where
Yeah, absolutely.
Macklemore Wonder.
Nothing wrong with that. Hey, man. Yeah.
That's what's up. Some of the questions that I usually like to write down and it's like looking back at what you've done, all the things that you've done. If you could talk to yourself when you were 18, what advice would you give yourself?
18, huh?
Yeah. In a way, it's kind of like, I mean, yes, talking to your 18-year-old self, but also for the younger generation that's listening to this, advice that you would give out.
I mean, for me, it's just if just do it for yourself. Do it for whatever you want to do it for. If you want to, if all you want to do is paint while you're young, and that's great. Have fun with it. That's what it's for. If you like it, you're good at it. Please stick it out. Stick around.
Keep killing it.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I dislike is, where somebody will try to show up, and play big dog when they're going to be gone. They're going to go away in 2, 3, 4 years. It's like, calm down.
Yeah.
Like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You don't need to.
Yeah. Longevity. Sometimes it's like, man, you're not here for the long haul.
Yeah, I mean, either way, if you want to paint for a little while, a few years, if you want to paint your whole rest of your life, like just do what you want to do and have fun with it,
Yeah, I feel that.
and just try to,
So going with that same question, to elaborate on that, what motivates you to keep writing?
my friends.
Yeah, the homies.
Yeah, exactly. My family is small. I love my homies. Yeah. We all support each other. Just and just everybody keeps pushing the envelope and really, really working on improving, styles, really stepping it up. It's that there's evolution taking place.
Yeah.
Just like skateboarding, man. I thought, wow. There's a way to get better. Are there more tricks to invent, and there somehow, man, people find a way.
Yeah.
There always is.
Yeah.
There really always is. So yeah, man, it's my pals, it's every day, you hear, see about something new someone's done that's just really impressive. And when I create art, it just makes me stoked. And even when I'm almost like, if I'm doing like a fat cap tag and I'm like just finishing the last letter, if I'm like out bombing, I'm already thinking about the next one I'm going to do.
Sick.
So
Yeah.
it just like the progression keeps me wanting more.
Okay.
That's what keeps driving me, and seeing my friends fuck shit up and kill it and take it to another level. It's impressive to me.
Yeah.
And it keeps me wanting to do it moving.
Hell yeah. So obviously you're definitely way more on the street side and killing shit. How do you balance that with your knife? How do you have like a work-life balance, but with like graffiti life balance?
I mean, it's easy. It's hand in hand,
Yeah.
I mean, I pretty much try to head up wherever I go. If you're out driving around and you're like, man, I keep seeing this guy up. This guy's painting. Well, guess what? You could be that up too. Because if you're seeing all that, you're in those places too. So I try to, utilize thoughts like that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, hold on for a minute. Take an extra minute or two.
Yeah.
And just zip zap, put in some more work.
Sick.
Yeah. You just kind of fit it in. And after a while, it just happens naturally. Of course, getting, certain spots requires a lot of late nights.
A lot of homework.
But that's never been, a thought of never not doing that. Yeah, that's great,
Yeah. Hell yeah.
It's fun to do that shit. I've always loved it.
And creeping at night.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
With graffiti, outside of that, do you have any hobbies or things that you like to do outside?
Yeah, I do. Lately I've been, getting into old school cars,
Oh yeah.
got a car of my own now, and
Sick.
that's been a task to say the least.
Yeah.
But you know, man, I just more or less visiting. I like to visit my friends.
Yeah.
I'm a social person.
Yeah.
I like to, you know, pop around, see people,
Traveling
just
for
stay
sure,
in the
big thing.
circuit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I do with my spare time, you know. If I can, I'll pop over to the East Bay, see this guy, go have lunch with that cat, you know. Just stay moving. I don't really take it easy too often, you know. When I can, I do, but I'm a busy guy. I stay on the move, and I like it that way.
Yeah. Keep it pushing.
You bet.
Fuck yeah. And then really the only other question that I have, that at least of the ones that I write down, what would be your last meal?
Oh, I don't know. Probably a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Hey, Steele. Yeah. Probably.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Any
Well,
particular spot you like around them?
Oh, it's always changing, but yeah, you know, yeah, that'd be great.
Word. Anything else you want to add?
Not at the moment. No.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, and any other questions you may have too.
Those are all the questions that I have for the podcast, and then those were
Right.
the user submitted questions. I mean, anything
Right.
else that you want to elaborate on, or
Well, yeah, I mean, I did kind of leave off, you know, around, you know, the last decade is kind of, there's a big hole here in the story, but in a sense, not really, you know, like we had spoke about. I've kind of just been in cruise control, you know, just steadily kind of maintaining, you know, my presence here in the Bay Area, and traveling Europe, trying to get up out there, and you know, visiting friends in different states.
Yeah,
I like to
fuck
do
yeah.
a lot of my painting elsewhere now. You know, I stay relevant here where I live, but
sure.
you know, how many times do you want to paint the same fucking gate, the same block, the same freeway underpasses?
I
mean, there's
completely agree
spots
with you.
I've hit a dozen times,
Yeah.
and you know, they're good. Certain spots, it's great. Like, yeah, you got a whole bunch of guys in town. They all want to paint a spot. It's like, okay, well, we can just go do this again.
Yeah.
But it's always good, of course, as you know, to scout and
Sure.
get new stuff. Obviously, is best.
Mm-hmm.
But there's certain spots where it's like, oh fuck, this one again.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
I feel like in the Bay Area we're a little spoiled because we have so many spots. But you know, after
I disagree.
Oh,
San
yeah?
Francisco real estate's hard to come by in the city, man. For runners.
well, yeah, that's true.
For runners.
I definitely.
You know,
I mean-
we have Caltrain. Shit runs. You know, some of those yards.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a few other street spots that run, but for the most part, I think it's pretty graffiti can be really short lived. You know,
Yeah, it's very temporal.
like there's a few riders that have done so much that are completely wiped out. You know, like think back to 2000, you got Narc guys and Vegan did so much. You know.
yeah.
Which a couple of those guys are still around.
It's nice to see him coming out again.
He is, yeah. Vegan's great guy. But like guys hasn't showed back up.
Yeah.
And not much left of what he did.
Yeah.
But what those guys all were doing those 5-10 years, man,
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
They painted a lot of shit and a lot of climb up, big, large scale shit.
Yeah.
But right, yeah, it's not it's not forever. And even if you do get a forever spot, it'll fade. So that's why, and I like that about it too. You know, it's not anything that's forever going to be there. It's kind of in it for the minute, but that's what makes it exciting. That's what keeps you wanting more.
Right. You
know?
got to keep getting it.
Yeah. Like Next. You know, Next had a good theory. There was a spot on 19th and Mission, a gate across the street from Beauty Bar, big long gate. He doubled up. He did 2 full size, head to toe necks. It's color switch, and it kept getting buff. And I remember, he was like, just do it again. I was like, yeah, you're right.
That's fucking simple, but like genius at the same time. Just do it again.
Yeah. So, right. So that's what's cool about it. It can kind of, in a weird way, it kind of keeps you wanting more,
That's a really good way to take on a graffiti.
Yeah, I mean, simple and effective.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, for sure. Because I mean, burnout does happen. I mean, I've
Of course.
I've had my moments where I'm like hella burnt, and then I'm like, all of
Yeah.
a sudden I get the hard on for it. But for sure, it's like just do it again.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I go through, like small points in time where okay, don't feel like doing fill-ins, but if not, I'm still out riding.
Yeah.
I'm still got, got pens on me and all that sort of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it can come in waves, whatever. But I think at this point, I'm just really happy with, like I had said, with all my people and the community involved. That, with all the folks I know, and I'm just, just looking to still write for as long as I can.
Yeah.
It's just kind of become who I am in a crazy way.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that, but yeah, it's just a great community of people.
Yeah. 30 years of Zeam.
Yeah, at this point, right, since 98 was when I first started writing that word.
Damn.
But yeah, I first picked up a can in 1993, and but yeah, I couldn't get serious with it until
Yeah.
until I got old enough to
Sure, it
branch
always takes a little bit.
out from the house,
Yeah.
But yeah, 30 plus years. So yeah, we'll keep it going. See how long.
Yeah.
See how long.
I mean, I'm sure you're rocking till the end.
Yeah, like good old MQ,
Yeah.
Man, he's
Yeah.
a living legend.
Literally.
He's I think, in my opinion, as far as volume goes, done more than anybody I've ever met,
Yeah.
and maybe more than anybody that there's ever been. I don't know.
I mean, there's few and far between from that kind of
It's
guy.
arguable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who are some of the people like right now in the Bay Area that you kind of, have caught your eye? Like, oh, that dude's getting in. You pay attention to.
Well, Fells came out of the gates pretty hard.
Yeah.
5+ ish years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple years after that, Savvy popped up. Really, really working it.
Yeah. And you're crewmates with both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am. And yeah, and not just to say that because they're affiliates, but yeah, it's crazy. There's so many new names in Oakland now.
Yeah.
Every time I go over there, I see new names.
Yeah.
But
Oakland's fun.
yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, and as far as like some of my favorite all-time Bay Area hand styles would be Skirt.
Yeah.
Just great fucking tags.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a North Bay / SF hybrid thing.
Okay.
Just tagging is important to me.
Yeah.
And he's definitely one of my top picks as far as taggers go.
Yeah.
And it's been good. He's been getting out painting again recently, quite
I've been
quite a
seeing
bit.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's exciting to see.
It is. Yeah.
It's like the people you grew up, like once we were just a second ago, we are talking about burnout. You kind of see people lay low for a little bit, and then also you see that resurgence. You're like, oh shit, I get to see them again.
Yeah, man, we got a whole new young generation of. I'm in GSB crew as well.
Okay.
We haven't talked about that.
Oh.
Yeah, Gusto, Bonsai, hailing, from NorCal. They came down in the early O's, and they brought it down, and right away were a big nuisance to the scene. Just being scumbags.
What's
Hence,
the original name for GSB?
I'm pretty sure it's the Ghetto Scumbags.
Ghetto Scumbags.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And they started serving it up right away.
Yeah.
And
still getting it. I mean, there's a truck literally right across the street from.
Yeah. Well,
the
right.
GSB.
It was kind of like their little tight knit thing for a while. They
Yeah.
had a couple guys from, I guess they were Reading kids. But that crew has expanded. Pridefully, to me, a lot of the OG guys have gotten involved. Like we got Death, old KUK, Reppin,
Yeah.
Abor.
Yeah.
Some of the FTLs, are involved.
Really,
they-
with GSB?
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah,
tight.
totally. No, it's great. Yeah. Yeah, man.
So as of right now, you're GSB, BTM, OTR, and
Right.
DE.
Yeah, and of course Lowdown,
Okay,
yeah, HBK,
Okay.
those are my family friends.
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much my deal right now.
Damn.
And yeah, so of course, you know, with time comes new riders. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
you know, young Stern and Leach are shredding it.
Yeah.
They hooked up with Guard, young OTR cat from
Yeah.
Los Angeles, that have been working it hard. You know, my boy Young Goose, younger guy too, for the most part. They're painting hard.
Yeah.
A lot of these new guys are painting a lot.
Goose, you're talking about GUSE.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
GUSE Goose,
Yeah.
GSB,
Dude, that guy gets it.
BTM. Yeah, he does. Yeah. So, right. Yeah. GSB. There's a whole movement, you know, of new guys taking place.
Yeah.
And it's fucking great.
Yeah.
They're painting their asses off.
Yeah, it's fucking
fucking great.
It's dope to see.
Yeah. No, it's great, man. Yeah. So those kids, props to all those kids. Yeah, I definitely wanted to mention that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the whole LA Bay thing, it's good right now.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people going back and forth, you know.
Yeah.
As I'm sure you heard or saw, the MSK guys and AL crew just had their anniversary parties.
Yeah, I saw Savvy at MSK.
Yeah, and merch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of fucking goodness happening and people forming and, you know, and raising the stakes. So I think it's been a few good last years of people coming together and making shit happen.
Yeah.
And you know, just bout it, fucking shit up.
Yeah.
Fucking just we're not stopping.
No.
It's only gonna get fucking better. You
Yeah.
know? So that's the deal.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. I'm with that.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that would probably be my final words at that point. But
Cool.
yeah.
Anyone else you want to shout out?
You know, man, there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to to cover all those tracks. But you know, yeah. Some of the LA guys, Donor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, OG Donor, his boy Fucked. You know, Car Loco, Ixo. Those FTLs, the Santa Cruz guys, rowdy motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Always bringing the shit. Caddy.
Yeah.
Those guys fucking rule. You know, 246, M Rescue, all those guys, amazing people. BBB crew, you know, local boys, Def 44, Bex, whole bunch of people.
If Def listens to this, can you stop fucking bullshitting and come on my podcast? I've known Def for years, and he's like, yeah, let's do it. And then some shit happens.
Yeah, Def's a busy boy. You know,
I
he's
feel
got
it.
the two kids now.
Yeah, but I'd definitely love to hear his story because I've been a fan of his for years, and so and I've also known him for years, so it'd be really cool.
Good. Yeah. He's one of my right hand men, man.
He's a solid guy.
He's a great guy. He's about some fucking illegal shit.
No, I know. I love it. One of the first times I met Deft, I remember we were talking about something. I forget how I even came across because it was so long ago. But he said something like I got wrapped and then I came out and like I kept doing it and I was like, damn, same day. He goes, yeah, dog, I'm a fucking tagger. All right.
That's him.
I'm a fuking graffiti writer. I'm gonna hit shit. And I was like, and I just looked at him like, yeah, you're cool, man.
Yeah, you're in, man.
Yeah, I fuck with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I fuck with Def.
Yeah, get him over here. Yeah. He's got a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
and he's a talker.
Yeah,
so heads up.
Yeah, I definitely would love to get some of the FTL guys to hear some of their stories. I randomly had dinner with Caddy and War at a Hooters once.
Yeah, there you go.
Just out some random shit.
Hey, yeah. Yeah, War's been around a while too.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, those guys are great. Again, yeah, just dangerous fucking guys, you know.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I always like that. I was like, Santa Cruz is such a nice little surf town. No.
Yeah, those guys don't take no shit.
Fucking heavy over there.
Yeah.
It's fucking punk rock, and you'll get fucked over if you aren't watching out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing. Yeah, and I love those guys for that. Yeah, my homie Wasabi, you know, local BTM, he's been working it hard lately.
Yeah.
Him and DJ have been doing an ink shit premium. That's cool. DJ's an OG. He goes back. You know, he used to paint with Hoax in the 90s.
Yeah.
DJ pretty much knows everybody.
Okay.
If you know DJ. Yeah. We're kind of newer friends, but yeah. yeah, there's just a lot of people, massive lists of names over the years.
Sure. I can't imagine because,
Yeah.
I mean, you've been around.
Yeah. And of course, when you're on the spot, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Like an hour later, you're going to be like,
I'm
oh,
like, whoops.
fuck, I forgot to say that.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the you know who you are sort of thing.
Yeah. Sick,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Word. Well, fucking A. I mean, I think that's a really good high point, so as far as like ending the podcast.
Good.
Are you okay with like putting out your Instagram for people to follow?
I mean, if just find it if you want, you'll find it.
There you go. All right. Yep.
Yeah. I'm not, too excited about Instagram. I mean, it's nice. I've been able to get in touch with a lot of old friends because, throughout the years, man, people move, cell phone numbers get changed left and right. And, and the whole international thing, it's sweet, it's a good thing. So
Yeah.
I like that, but I was reluctant to get started on it, but enough from friends of just like, people want to see it. And, I try to be humble, I'm not, too into myself. Like I just, I'm just trying to grow every day, be humbled,
Right.
I'm not, I'm not trying to be Mr. All That. So yeah, after enough people said, hey, people really want to see, okay, let's share some fucking flicks. Fuck it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, all the other guys doing it too, you
Yeah.
know? And again, to mention Odds, he's been posting a whole bunch of shit from 98, 99 lately.
Sick.
It's great. Yeah. Seeing all those old flicks are fucking awesome, because it's not every day when you can go to back over to somebody's house and they're going to pull out all their photos.
Yeah. The big crate in the back that's been there.
Yeah. And that's the thing that kind of started to suck too. Because around 06-ish, everybody got digital cameras. We were all stealing, those Kodak, this little point and shoot,
Yeah.
the fucking disposable cameras. And turns out those are like all of our flicks.
Yeah.
They're all shitty flicks.
Yeah.
We should have just bought a regular standard $40 point and shoot and just use that. But we're like, no, they gotta be free. Fuck it.
Yeah.
And then around 06, everybody got digital cameras. But then too, computers were changing so drastically that photos got lost in hard drive fried. So I do have a pretty, big gap of like missing photo, but you can go back to Flickr and find, that's pretty much where all of my lost photo, those years of lost.
I tell everyone, man,
photos.
Flickr
They're
needs to come back.
They're hiding on Flickr. Yeah. If you want to see what I was doing, from around 05 to 2012 ish.
Yeah.
All that's hiding on Flickr.
Yeah, I think
I really don't have flicks of much of any of that shit because of computers breaking and throwing out.
And
That's what happened to that.
It's
And now
nice that
everyone's-
there's a little spot for those memories to still be
Yeah,
there.
Now now everyone's photos are on their phones, and what's going to happen to all those?
Dude,
So
I
beware.
Yeah,
if
that happened to me.
If you're an archivist, however you want to.
Yeah, I went to Hawaii and fucking hit hella spots and took so many pictures, and then my phone got water damaged.
Yeah,
I was like, all right.
I mean, but right too. But then again, talk to Vic 20. Who wants any evidence sitting around? Not
Yeah.
him. I don't know. Some people don't. Maybe I don't.
Yeah, I feel it.
You gotta think about that.
Yeah.
Watch out, because fools are still getting tracked
Popped and
down
shit,
and watch out. Yeah. So beware.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
Word, man. Well, fuck. Once again, thanks for coming on to the show. Just sharing
welcome.
your information, your story. It's dope to document. This side of San Francisco and St. Louis. Really.
Thank you.
It's really cool. So yeah, if you want to find Zeam, you got to find him when you find him.
There it is.
Yep. I am Bay_area_graffiti on Instagram. My personal graffiti is What's Your Name? Name spelled Naym, which is just mine backwards. Other than that, man, fucking, thanks for everyone that's listening, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.
What is this rush thing? What is the rush that you get from it?
Nothing can beat it. No drugs, no nothing.
Are you the kind of person who goes up on those signs on the freeway?
Yeah, more than anyone.